Pick up some at your local retailer today. AM 560 News Time 5:04. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
This summer, everybody is talking about one person. And on August 22nd, we want to hear what you have to say about President Donald Trump. Join AM 560's Joe Walsh for the Summer of Trump as he welcomes Hugh Hewitt and Guy Benson to the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Join the debate as they discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly moments of the Trump administration. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/summer. Sponsored in part by Storlock and by Best Dental Group.
You are about to hear from Dr. Douglas Howard.
After 20 years and tens of thousands of success stories, Balance of Nature is still the only pure whole food supplement available. Balance of Nature has served more than 500 million servings of fruits and vegetables. Don't accept imitations, copies, or substitutions. Our success stories are unique to Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You'll know you have the real thing when you open the bottles and see, smell, and taste real produce.
It is worth every penny I pay because they really have made such a difference in my life. It is making me feel a whole lot better.
Even my doctor thought it was a good product.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you for free. Call now for details.
Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Message and data rates may apply.
Have you ever forgotten your password? With all the accounts you have and all the rules around passwords, remembering every single one is impossible. That's why millions of people are turning to Dashlane, the award-winning app that protects your passwords and creates an easy, secure way to access all of your accounts. And right now, you can get access to Dashlane free for life on your favorite device just by texting SECURE to 543-543. Over 6 million users manage their passwords with Dashlane. Over 6,000 companies trust Dashlane. And over 70,000 reviews give it a 5-star rating. But the only number that really matters? 0. Because that's how many times you'll forget your passwords using Dashlane. With Dashlane, your passwords are never misplaced and never forgotten. Simple, safe, secure. Unlock free access to Dashlane on your favorite device for life right now. Just text SECURE to 543-543. That's SECURE to 543-543.
At 5:07 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, David. Rain is a factor in parts of the area, and it figures to complicate the commute once again, especially where there are storms in areas now like northwestern Kane County and DeKalb. Tri-State Tollway southbound before 147th got crashed in the right lane. I-80 eastbound between the Minooka Interchange and I-55 in that area got a blockage of the roadway due to an overturned vehicle. The other expressways and tollways look good. There are still flood-related closures and displays of Central Road and Gulf Road and stretches of southbound River Road. River Road is closed at River Grove still. Between Fullerton and Belmont, there are closures of Gages Lake Road and Gurnee at 132 and Fox Lake, along with Nippersink and Round Lake. Traffic is a service of EAA Aviation Center. The world's greatest aviation celebration is in your own backyard. EAA AirVenture Oshkosh, July 24th through the 30th. For information or to buy tickets, visit airventure.org. EAA AirVenture Oshkosh. Don't miss it. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now the forecast, a service of aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A couple of morning thunderstorms around, followed by an afternoon shower or thunderstorm in spots. Otherwise humid with clouds and sun today, high 91. Heat index readings 100 to 105 for the afternoon. Patchy clouds for the night tonight, low 71. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
72 at the lakefront, 71 degrees at Midway and O'Hare. Next News 5:30, continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning. Yes, seriously, is Sean from Elmwood Park. Sean from Elmwood Park, the Duke of Disparagement.
Ooh.
The Earl of Excrement Talk.
I don't know if I'm going to go with that one.
What I'm trying. The Count of the Cut Down.
There you go. All right, that I'll be fine with. And we have plenty to go after today.
Oh, we do?
Oh, absolutely we do.
Well, give me an example of what you would like to talk about.
You want to talk about the how Murkowski and the two other women are being lumped in somehow with people who stand for principle, and how the mischaracterization of people like me who reject Obamacare on its face are being lumped in with people like Murkowski who simply think there's not enough giveaways in it.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
All right. We're going to talk about, you want to talk about Illinois people? We want to talk about Pritzker, Rauner? Because during that interview yesterday, I'm calling the station I can't get through as I listen to 7 Foot of Stupid play victim to the very policies he supported.
No, I don't think I want to talk about that.
All right. Well, you're the guy that just walked in 30 seconds ago. What do you want to talk about?
Well, how about starting with Obamacare in some form or fashion, but not you in the role of the victim being lumped in with
but I am the victim.
and Susan Collins. Well, we're all the victim of Obamacare, even those that think they're benefiting in the short term, because government gambits of that sort, major social engineering programs run by the state, usually wind up without a lot of tears at exorbitant prices. And so it was interesting yesterday when the president whistled some GOP senators over to the White House for lunch to have a little conversation about Obamacare, at least as it pertains to, all this procedure in the Senate, leveling up debate on a straight repeal.
You know what that's called in my neighborhood? A sit down. That's where you get whistled into the social club and the veiled threats. The veiled threats, because that's what it is.
Well, they weren't really veiled. I mean, listen to Trump.
I can't hear anything in my headset. Hey, kid, work the buttons, for God's sakes. We give a 16-year-old a job. The least thing you can do is get things working.
You can't hear anything in your headset because you're yelling, and it drowns out anybody else speaking.
That may be. I just thought Cass stretched it out yesterday and broke it.
So Trump in the White House yesterday, he's got Tim Scott to the left of him. He's got Dean Heller to the right of him.
Looks like a Viagra commercial.
Stuck in the middle with Obamacare is Trump, and he talks about the prospects for Obamacare replacement, or at least straight repeal, and then he and Dean Heller have a fun moment, for a moment.
The other night I was very surprised when I heard a couple of my friends, they really were and are. They might not be very much longer, but that's okay. I think I have to get them back. That's right. I refuse. Well, no, you didn't go out there. This was the one we were worried about. You weren't there, but you're going to be. Look, he wants to remain a senator, doesn't he?
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I think the people of your state, which I know very well, I think they're going to appreciate
Don Corleone.
What you hopefully will do. Any senator who votes against starting debate is really telling America that you're fine with Obamacare. But being fine with Obamacare isn't an option for another reason, because it's gone. It's failed. It's not going to be around.
So when he said he wants to remain a senator and whatnot, there was a little ooh, like a zinger, but the smile did leave Dean Heller's face. So what is wrong with the president suggesting that if he can't get the Republican Party to go along with something they promised to do, all these individual members, some of whom previously voted for straight repeal, then perhaps they should be replaced and he gets involved in primaries to do that. What's wrong with that?
I think it was a disgrace when Obama didn't realize the significance of his office and the power that he had and the misuse and misappropriation of that power. I was disgusted with the whole process as he turned our presidency into a fiat dictatorship. And I'm even more so when a Republican uses it in this way. This is not an off-the-cuff, Mark. He's dead serious about this.
Dead serious, dead serious about which part?
About using his power as the presidency to take out guys he doesn't think fit on board with his view. And that is not Republicanism.
Oh, really? So we shouldn't have primary elections?
I don't have a problem with primary election, but a president shouldn't have the power to use the money of the GOP against individual elected officials he doesn't agree with, or he doesn't like, or he doesn't view loyal.
I'm sorry, it's money that he raises.
He doesn't raise the money. It's Ryan's Priebus at the country club.
No, he raises the money. Here's a little-known fact. Apparently, at least it's little known to you. The president has amazing fundraising capacity just by the nature of the president. And somebody who gets
no, wait a minute.
And somebody who gets 60 million votes has a lot of people that want to support him. And so it's
listen to what you're doing.
Excuse me. It's very easy to raise money as the president of the United States. This just in. It's also very easy to raise money as an incumbent U.S. senator.
And that's the problem.
Well, stop conflating the issues. The issue is whether the president of the United States, as the de facto head of the party, whichever party he is, whichever party is in power, and whichever party he is affiliated with, he is also a private political actor. He can get involved in primary elections like anybody else. He brings more power to bear. But why couldn't he get involved? So governors shouldn't get involved in primaries. No. Who's allowed to get involved in primary elections? Who's allowed to?
The citizens.
And the president of the United States is a citizen.
Oh, come on. Listen, first of all, let's take this one bit at a time. You're going to use the fact he got 60 million votes as a mallet when the Republicans said he's the lesser of two evils. Of course he got 60 million votes. There were only two people, right? What happened to that?
It's immaterial.
Well, you're using it as an asset, like 60 million people support this guy.
I'm using it as an explanation because apparently you don't understand.
It's still not a mobocracy.
You don't understand that apparently that people support a politician, and so despite Mr. Libertarian, Mr. Persuasion, not coercion, if people want to voluntarily contribute, because nobody's forced to make a political donation.
Oh, they're not?
If people want to the 60 million people, you think Trump is calling them and saying, I'm going to take your home if you don't send me $25? If people want to voluntarily make a political donation, and it is voluntary, and those organizations want to then get involved in primarying incumbents, then I'm sorry, what exactly is the problem with that? If you don't like what the organization is doing that you're supporting, then you can stop supporting them too.
Let's take these. See, you go into these diatribes where you throw 15 things at me. I want to take them one at a time.
No.
Yes,
it's one simple thing. Does the president of the United States, as a private citizen, in addition to being the president of the United States, as the head of a political party, does he have the right in Sean's America to participate in politics? Or when you become an elected official, do you lose your rights as a citizen?
Let's start off by the fact the contributions for the most part are not voluntary. They're not voluntary.
That's absurd.
Why do you think they want more money constantly in politics? It's so they can shake down the people trying to do business in the country.
Spare me.
And you wouldn't. I have businesses.
Spare me.
You want to get something done? Listen, how many variances have you gone for before these two-bit mobbed up towns?
Spare me.
You drop the envelope off or you don't get the variance.
Yeah.
You want your corporation not to have the regulation shoved down their throat, you drop the envelope off.
I'm very familiar with...
I don't know if you... Well, then why are you
really? I'm not familiar with that?
Why are you
Who's been in politics for 25 years, Sean? You? I don't think so. So spare me the cartoonish, hey, these fracking politicians, Archie Bunker nonsense that has no connection to reality. Are there politicians who leverage their office to raise money, who shake people down? Of course there are. There are legions of Chicago politicians from time immemorial that have gone to prison and many more that should have. That is not the question. So stop telling me about corrupt politicians putting the arm on people. No kidding. We're talking about the president of the United States.
Putting the arm on people.
And we're saying if you're not going to support my agenda, then I perhaps will seek to support an opponent. That is called a primary election. That's how primary elections work.
Prof, what are you saying? It's called a threat. That's called a threat. That's a threat.
It's a threat to support an opponent.
Oh, as the president, not as a citizen, as the president of the country, say if you will, bow to my will, or I'll make sure you're not elected. Come on, let's talk in the light.
How does a primary election work? How should a primary election work? You tell me.
Well,
because you said they should exist. So tell me who gets to participate. Who gets to participate in primary elections and who doesn't?
I said you should primary rounder. By what you're saying, why aren't you primary rounder unless you're letting the people of Illinois?
What if President Trump supported me in that primary?
I don't have a problem with him as an individual. Listen
wait, he's
to
still
me.
the president.
He's threatening He's threatening.
What if he threatened
the
Ronner?
money of the RNC, right?
Well, so what? Dean Heller doesn't have a claim on the money of the RNC.
Neither does Trump.
He's the head of the party. There's the difference.
The problem with this whole process is that at a whim, at an innuendo, he can raise money, he can direct money where to go, and he can threaten a senator. That is not Republicanism. Well, then let's call him Caesar and get it over with. I'm dying to see him in a toga without the girdle. Let's just get it over with.
That's called the political system. That's called a representative republic.
That's called a bastardization of it.
Really? So what?
Absolutely. The problem with our whole system is the money.
Yeah, I get your Howard Beale routine.
It's not Howard Beale. It's
tiresome.
the reality.
It's tiresome. Try and make a substantive point. How should the political system work? We're not going to have money.
You want
to? So how?
I didn't say not money.
How should it work?
Limit everybody's money.
And who's?
The only limitations in this country should be on these politicians, not on the citizens.
Well, here's the thing, though.
I know it's an ideologue.
No, I don't.
Am I a purist?
You just have the inability to connect dots. By limiting what a politician can raise or receive in contributions, you're limiting the citizen.
I have the inability to connect dots, and you can't connect that we have a corrupt system? This is pay to play on a mass schedule?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, and the problem
Well, then it's fine. Then what are we complaining about? Let's just play music. Cue the music.
And the problem... we have to do. I'm sorry for people that know how this works and are familiar with the American
lawyers
political
and
system.
lobbyists. I'm sorry, guys.
And I'm
Sit
sorry,
tight.
and the tens of millions of Americans who contribute to political candidates on both sides. I'm sorry that we have to do this politics 101 for Sean. We've just brought him in from the forest. So again, you limit what somebody can receive. You limit what somebody can donate, so it is not just impactful on the politician. The problem with our American political system is not that there's too much money in politics. There's too much government for sale. So if you really want to talk about eliminating...
So how do you have one without the other? So you're saying
if you
just wait a minute.
No, you wait a minute.
Oh, here we go.
If you scale down the size of the state and there's less government for sale... There's less goodies to hand out, then less money flows to politics, likely with at least the rent seekers that you're talking about, which generally I agree, but I still don't think they should be unconstitutionally limited in their expression in the political arena, which you do, and you also want to pick and choose who can participate in the political arena at all.
You're damn right.
Well, so you're Caesar. You're Caesar.
No.
Yeah, you are Caesar.
Here, Adam Kinzinger, $2 million a year he raises.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
All right, so I got to do the weather, and it's good fundraising weather if you're a congressman. Today, showers and thunderstorms, mainly before noon. The high is going to be 81, mostly cloudy overnight with a low 72. Friday, partly sunny with a high 82. Showers and thunderstorms likely overnight with a low around 71. That's when the money really gets raised. Friday night at the fundraisers. Saturday, 50% chance of showers. It's going to turn into fall overnight. But Jim Telemonte, there was a kid in a Buick Enclave playing bass music 3:30 in the morning on 83. He had to cause a backup somewhere. Where is he?
Well, by now, let's hope he's in bed. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Dan. We do have problems on the inbound Edens, though. Traffic's at a standstill from Old Orchard to Church Street. There is a crash there. I can't tell if there's any base coming from the scene of this, but all lanes are blocked. Traffic's only getting by on the right shoulder. It's a 3-vehicle collision. And we have reports from IDOT that there are injuries as well. It's right now 27 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, but this may take a while to clear. And outbound, there's a left lane blockage as well due to that crash. No delay outbound. Kennedy's fine. Eisenhower as well. Inbound Stevenson, little tight state to Lakeshore Drive, about a 2-minute delay. Ryan, 17 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 17 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Southbound Tri-State, before you get to 147th Sibley, there's a crash now on the right shoulder. Eastbound Adams Tollway before Higgins and Hoffman Estates, crash in the right lane. There's a crash on eastbound I-80, which has the roadway blocked between the Nook Interchange and before River Road. That's before I-55. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content on our digital platform that complements what we do each morning on this show. Long-form interviews with policy leaders, like Dan Patlak, Cook County Commissioner, Board Review, we talk with this week on as to property taxes and Cook and the Collars and generally the state of Illinois. 2-minute warnings from Pat Hughes, Illinois Opportunity Project, about bad actors and their bad actions in public office in Illinois. My 60 Seconds of Sanity commentary this week on the Charlie Gard case, as well as podcasts of our Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics, and a new series we've rolled out, Heart of the Matter, which is professional women talking about the salient issues of the day, colleague to colleague. You get it all if you sign up at upstream-ideas.com today.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-900-1904. That's 1-800-900-1904. 1-800-900-1904.
Realtors, are you looking to reduce your stress and sell homes faster? Then you need to do what I did and work with, you need to do what Amy did and work with David Hochberg at Pearl Mortgage. I want to be honest. David wants to eliminate your stress during the loan approval process by approving your buyers before you show them homes. That's right. David will approve your buyers before you begin showing your buyers homes, so you know exactly what they can afford. With a Team Hochberg loan approval, your buyer's offer will stand out because you'll be able to close within 10 business days of signing a contract. Closing within 10 business days of signing the contract, as long as there's no appraisal or title challenges, and the condo is warrantable if purchasing a condo, is almost as good as a cash offer. A Team Hochberg loan approval will eliminate your stress and enable you to sell homes faster. Call David now, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David's helped me and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, NMLS 19186.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy this morning. We were having a spirited discussion about Sean's tendencies towards totalitarianism.
About whores, political whores we were talking about. And the only problem is the price of the prostitution, and it isn't high enough.
Yeah, so limiting free speech.
Yeah, limiting free speech. That's my favorite one.
Protecting incumbents by not allowing challengers to readily raise outside money. That's what campaign contribution caps do. Sean's a big fan of all of those. Let's go to Candace in DuPage, see if she's an equally big fan. Candace?
Hi. I don't get it, Sean. Really, I don't understand the excitement over this. Let me explain how it worked in the past election. Okay. Many people were on the border where they were possibly not going to win, like Marco Rubio, Darrell Issa, for example. And the reason why they won is because they said that they would support Trump. And that's the reason why I sent them money. Okay? And now these same people who, said that they would support him are stabbing him in the back. And yes, he does have the right to wield that. He's the damn brand. What don't you get about
He doesn't get to rule. You want a ruler? It's easy. Then go to a third world despot.
Thanks for the call, Candace. It's not. He's the head.
Come on,
just stop hyperventilating for 5 seconds. He's the head of a political party. We're talking about we're talking about an election. We're talking about politics.
So you want to talk about the loyalty of the senators he likes and how they were bought?
See,
the same way the Democrats were bought to pass it, the same pork spending, the same giveaways to these states. So it's really just hold out for the highest price. And everybody's fine with that?
See,
so then there's really no difference between you and Democrats. None.
You're making this about Trump, and so
I'm making it about the money.
And so is Candace. Well, you're making it in part on Trump because you're calling him a dictator. I would say that makes it about Trump. And the problem is it's about accountability. And how do you hold politicians accountable for saying they're going to do something when they run and doing the opposite when they are in office? Because that's what a lot of Republicans have done on Obamacare repeal straight or Obamacare repeal and replace. So why shouldn't the party try and hold
their job, which is representing the people who don't give the campaign contributions? If you like the system of pay to play, then that's the system.
I guess.
And this whole thing about
see,
you constantly interrupt me. Then you get mad when I interrupt you.
When's
my diatribe come on?
I guess the question is, when they ran on a particular platform saying they would do X and Y.
You mean like pull out Obamacare? Did they do it?
Right, and so that's how they would have represented everybody in their district, including even people who disagree with them, because that's the promise they made. And so when they break that promise, they shouldn't be held accountable. That's your position.
He didn't break the promise. See, you're going under the assumption that Trump Care was better than Obamacare. And you use these language. It's a better step towards. Listen, Dan, it kept.
It's a drop in an envelope for variance.
Yeah, but you admit, you just pretend it doesn't happen, right? You just want to drop it. I drop it disgruntled. That's right. I'll drop it disgruntled because that's the system. And I want to end it. You guys want to keep it going. Just keep it in the shadows.
Thanks for the call, Bob. Appreciate it. Trust me, you don't want Sean as a client if that has not become clear.
This morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning. We couldn't be further from Amy if we...
Except for the yoga pants.
If we tried to conceive someone in a lab, that couldn't be further from Amy. He's Sean from Elmwood Park, and we're having spirited discussions on Trump. As you get excited, Kevin Rooney tweets in, this morning's Penn and Teller routine could use some more Teller.
I think he means me. So let me.
Right, and what he means by Teller, if you know the act, is silence.
Oh, well, he could kiss my... Anyway, listen.
Yeah.
Let me say what I have to say without your diatribe of interrupting me. Just for a moment. Give me 30 seconds. I don't even need 30.
I'll give you 15.
Here's the deal. Paul Ryan, the achiever of nothing, because he is speaker, raises $20 million. 99% of the money from out of his district. He is selling my government. You understand that? And your answer to that is that what we need is for him to have access to more money. And if you can't understand that he is using that power to shake down businesses by promising them one of two things, either the assistance of government, hold on a minute, a la Tesla, either the assistance of government through phony grants or the relief of its oppressive regulations and rules and taxation. So you are, here's all I want to do, Dan. Hold on.
Reducing the size of government is...
Here's all I want to do.
Reducing the size of government is a payoff.
I want to take the power away from the politician and
so
give it back to the... No, you don't.
Yeah,
and give it back to the people.
Actually.
You just want a bigger stream of flow of cash.
No, here.
You don't think there's too much money, Dan? How many billions are raised?
Let me try this again.
Okay, all right, here we go.
I have no disposition on the amount of money in politics. I don't care.
Why?
Because
Mitch McConnell worth $44 million. He hasn't worked since the 80s. What did he do to get the money?
You just this is just like you take a garbage bag out and you dump it all on the floor.
I'm dumping garbage?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, they need more money.
You can't stay on a singular linear thought for 5 seconds. So let me try.
All right, go ahead.
Just to show you what it looks like.
All the people that think they need more money, call in.
I have no disposition on the amount of money in politics. That's what freedom is.
Oh,
the freedom to participate or not participate in politics. I require nobody give any money, and I don't think anybody should be capped at the amount of money they give because that's their part of their political expression in the arena. So it's a very simple foundational principle, and policies are what flow from foundational principles, not temper tantrums.
The same industries give money to the politicians. The same industries, insurance, banking, lawyers, lobbyists.
And
so you have a corrupted system.
Excuse me.
That's it. Simple.
I will repeat again. The problem.
They need more money. Lawyers write more money.
The problem is that there's not too much money in politics. There's too much government for sale, and that is a human frailty. And so, for example, if I don't know, if I ran for office again, I'm sure equally unsuccessfully, and a couple of guys from Goldman Sachs gave me individual contributions. Now I'm in the pocket of Goldman Sachs.
If you then,
I'm not done.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because
Really?
if you elect people who come to the table with a worldview and articulable principles, and they're going to advance policies consistent with those principles, then money it doesn't necessarily mean marionette strings.
So there's
you think that they're inextricably linked, and they're not. And there's plenty of examples of people actually in office where they're not.
For a guy living in a fantasy world, I think you'd be in a better mood. So in other words, there's no correlation between the money Goldman Sachs gives and the fact that there's a revolving door in our government regulation board.
That's
you
not
just
what I
said
said.
it.
All right, we're done with this conversation
right.
because I can only have conversations with adults.
Oh, here we go.
And so
'Cause you're a loser.
if you want to mischaracterize what I say, just wait for me to finish so that you can
We'll
go
let
on
the
one of
people.
your kind of tangential stream of consciousness schizophrenic rants, then the next 3 hours are going to be
We'll let the people
Dan
decide.
and an empty seat in for Amy.
We'll let the people decide.
Not here. We won't. Randy and Sandwich, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Guys, the only thing we're missing this morning is Danny Bonaducci promoting your guys' celebrity boxing match. So why don't we just get a hold of somebody at Rosemont?
Give you the odds. You just said you'll take the Irishman.
I'll take the Irishman. You want it straight up?
Is he going to win?
I'll tell you what.
Is McGregor going to win?
Well, the point system. I'll tell you what.
He's not going to win.
McGregor will stand.
$100.
Done.
Okay, done. Sold. All right, Trump. We got to get back to the rest of Trump's foray into the arena yesterday. One was that meeting with senators at the White House, the lunch he had with him in between Senator Scott and Heller, and a bit of a jovial yet tense moment with Heller, as we discussed. The other is sitting down with the New York Times. This is always a curious decision, Trump sitting down with the New York Times. And he covered a number of topics, the special prosecutor, the undisclosed dinner, quote-unquote undisclosed dinner with Putin at the G20, and also in this kind of larger context of the Russian collusion investigation, on the appointment of an independent counsel, Robert Mueller, and that was precipitated in part by the recusal of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Here's what Trump had to say on that matter.
Sessions gets the job. Right after he gets the job, he recuses himself.
Was that a mistake?
Well, Sessions should have never recused himself. And if he was going to recuse himself, he should have told me before he took the job, and I would have picked somebody else.
He gave you no heads up at all.
Zero.
Talk about, yeah.
So Jeff Sessions takes the job, gets into the job, recuses himself. I then have, which frankly, I think is very unfair to the president. How do you take a job and then recuse yourself? If he would have recused himself before the job, I would have said, thanks, Jeff, but I can't, I'm not going to take you. It's extremely unfair, and that's a mild word, to the president. So he recuses himself. I then end up with a second man who's a deputy.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Do you think President Trump is correct that
he only wants yes men?
That Jeff Sessions should have decided whether or not he was going to recuse himself in this matter and told the president prior to accepting the nomination for Attorney General of the United States? Your thoughts, Sean?
I think he only wants yes men. I think that's all he's ever had around him. He wants yes men and sycophants. That, like everybody else, he's no different than Obama. He's no different than Obama. He's no different than anybody else. Listen, there are some things. My grievance with Trump is I'm not a never Trumper. I'm not all these things that people want to name. My grievance with Trump isn't a personality issue as much as it's a policy issue. See, I like contentious government. I like when government, I don't want them to work. For 9 years, for 12 years, government needs to work. We've never spent more money. They've never taxed more money. They've never printed more money than any time in history. That, to me, is working. This is a full Potemkin disagreement between Trump's policies and Obama's policies. And when he ran on, I knew it was a con, like an infomercial for some two-bit university to raise money. It's an infomercial phone. Where Janet Yellen, Mrs. Doubtfire, still printing the money, still with the control, and our only real disagreement is we need another guy from Goldman Sachs in. The policies are still the same. As you hear about Obamacare, we're using Medicaid, Now, for years, the people on the right who knew that the principle of Obamacare was to expand Medicaid, increase it by 50%, now we're having those very people used against us. So in every aspect, I think his policies are more aligned with the Soviet Democrats just promising better management. That's my grievance with him. It isn't the girdle, it isn't the spray tan or the Como. None of it.
Now that you've talked about monetary policy and Obamacare and
I have more respect for the audience.
Generally Trump, what about the actual question that we're discussing, and that's the issue of Jeff Sessions and whether or not Sessions, I guess, should have recused himself, and whether or not Trump would have been proper to select a different attorney general nominee.
I heard
who would have committed to not recusing himself.
I heard you speak fondly of Jeff Sessions for 8 years. Did you not? You personally. You were a big you like Jeff Sessions.
I do like Jeff Sessions.
Okay. So I put what he thinks is right. I'm fine. If he says I'm recusing myself, well, he has a reason for that. This is a guy who is a 70-year-old man, right? Pretty successful guy, pretty good guy, of good character. For all the time in politics, he's probably one of the standouts. So the only reason Trump really appointed him anyway is to shore up his conservative base.
Well,
and then he doesn't like his decision. That's Sessions' decision. I respect it.
I would say one of the reasons he was appointed too is because he was one of the earliest Trump supporters. So I think perhaps the first elected official at the federal elected official, certainly in the U.S. Senate, to endorse and support Trump. So the whole Trump loyalty component comes into this. I think there's a couple things here. As usual, President Trump speaks to this issue inartfully and creates problems for himself in so doing. One is Jeff Sessions recused himself based on the canons of his profession, and it was the right thing to do. That didn't necessarily mean an independent counsel. Rod Rosenstein, the deputy, got a vote of confidence, if you remember, from Sally Yates, the acting AG that was kicked to the curb. But when she was asked, when she was testifying as to the matter of her opinion versus the White House's on the temporary travel ban, she said, Rod Rosenstein, I have full confidence in Rod Rosenstein to conduct this Russian collusion investigation. When asked specifically whether she thought an independent counsel was required, a special prosecutor was required, she basically said no, because I have so much faith in Rod Rosenstein. Mm-hmm. So it could have been handled that way. Perhaps it should have been handled that way. Certainly from the Trump White House perspective, it should have been, because of the nature of the open-ended field of play that special prosecutors have, and Mueller seems to be taking advantage of. So if what Trump should have said, maybe this is what he meant, I don't know. I'm sort of getting tired of trying to impute sensible thoughts into what Trump actually says. But what it was is, I didn't realize that Jeff Sessions had these contacts that were going to be made an issue of, contacts with, the Russian ambassador to the U.S. and so forth, that were going to be made an issue of, and that would have prompted him, based on the canons, to recuse himself. And so I would have selected another nominee for Attorney General, not to be a loyalist to me. I want him to be a loyalist to the law. But I would have selected someone that didn't have these same contacts, so wouldn't have raised these same issues necessitating the recusal. That's a very different statement than the one Trump made. Maybe he was trying to say that. Maybe that's what he meant, but it's not what he said.
Political loyalty to me should be between the politician and his constituents, not between politicians. Because when they're loyal to each other, they will be against their own constituents. And that is the problem in our politics.
I want them to be loyal to the oath that they take to uphold and defend the Constitution.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
Did you know your organization's logo can do far more than you think?
Your logo carried my clothes to the gym.
Your logo kept my coffee warm all morning. Your logo charged my phone last night.
When the highly trained team at 4imprint put your logo on things people actually use, you'll be amazed at how powerful your logo can be. Not only will we unleash the full power of your logo, we'll show you the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers absolutely free. Text TEAM to 642-642 now. Every time your customers enjoy one of our promotional items with your logo, they'll think of you. Plus, with free art assistance, we'll make every item look fantastic for a great price. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Your logo keeps my laptop safe.
Your logo keeps me dry. Attract new customers, reward employees, and make a lasting impression. Discover the top 3 promotional items for free. Text TEAM to 642-642. That's TEAM to 642-642.
Yes, indeed, summertime. Another hot one. Wait, gonna be a little bit cooler today. Back to hot, gonna be windy. Maybe a thunderstorm mixed in for good measure. Up and down and up and down. The climate is always changing. Your company's heating and cooling system really gets a workout in Chicagoland. Be ready for anything this summer. Call Air Comfort and get your business's cooling system tuned up and running at peak performance. You see, the Air Comfort problem solvers can find small problems before they become big problems. Plus, proper maintenance will keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your chiller is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key to keep your climate from changing is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
You know you secretly want to be a rock star. ChicagoRadioDeals.com can put you one step closer to living out your dream with these deals from Midlothian Music. You can bang on the drums all day with your own Tama Imperial Star 5-piece drum kit that includes cymbals, stands, and throne for only $350, $700 value. Pick your color that best matches your personality. Create your own sound with a Casio Privia digital piano, which feels and sounds like a real piano. This keyboard is also $350 and comes with a matching stand. Or play your favorite riff on a Taylor mahogany and spruce Grand Auditorium acoustic electric guitar. This full-size handmade instrument is a gorgeous guitar, which retails for about $1,000, but is half the price on ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Midlothian Music is dedicated to bringing you the best selection of American-made, handcrafted instruments. Plus, you'll experience exceptional customer service with every purchase. Find all these rockin' deals and more on ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-700-2119. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-700-2119. That's 1-800-700-2119. 1-800-700-2119.
Do you crave work that matters? 20 years ago, Bob Buford's book, Halftime, took business leaders from success to significance in their work. That book started a movement and the Halftime Institute. Now, from Institute CEO Dean Nawalny comes the next new powerhouse book, Trade Up. Building on Bob's legacy, Trade Up shows marketplace leaders how to not just make money, but make a difference. If the word smoldering discontent describe you, then trade up. Go to halftime.org. That's halftime.org.
At 5:57 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim Chalamonte.
Thanks, David. On the inbound Edens Expressway, traffic is at a standstill from Lake Avenue to Church Street. A crash still has all lanes blocked. Traffic only gets by on the right shoulder. There are injuries involved here. 30 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25 with the Gapers delay. The Kennedy, 21 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 27. The Eisenhower is 35 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 34. Stevenson, already 53 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Okay, outbound. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to the Loop. I-80 eastbound. It's reopened between Ridge Road and Minooka and before River Road after there was an overturned semi-traffic. Service of Dove Men Plus Care. You hear that 91% of guys that use Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant recommended. Dove Men Plus Care user Bobby said he doesn't know how it works, but gets the job done. Sounds good, Bobby. Pick up some new Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant for yourself at your local retailer. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talabonte on AM 560. The Answer.
And now the forecast, a service of aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. And here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, humid with clouds and sunshine. Couple of morning thunderstorms around, followed by a shower or thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. High 91. Humid tonight with patchy clouds, low 71. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 71 degrees at O'Hare. AM 560 news time, 5:59. Time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. In the news, from the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom, Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. A boy who left St. Paul in 1976 has now been identified as a victim of serial killer John Wayne Gacy. Sheriff Tom Dart says DNA tests confirm the ID of James Byron Hawkinson.
Jimmy was 16 years old at the time when he was murdered by John Gacy. Jimmy was an incredibly special kid.
The teen's remains were found in Gacy's crawl space when he was arrested in 1978, but were unidentified until now. An investigation is underway after a 911 dispatcher shot a woman on the southwest side. It happened yesterday after the city employee got into a traffic dispute with the victim in the 3500 block of South Ashland Avenue. The news is service of Discover Student Loans, figuring out how to cover college costs. Well, Discover Student Loans is one of the top private student loan lenders in the country with great rates and zero fees. Plus, students can earn a cash reward for their good grades. Visit discoverstudentloans.com to apply today. Limitations apply. We got more of Chicago's Morning Answer coming up after a look at national headlines from Fox News, WIND Chicago.
He's been through worse. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's what Senator John McCain says about the battle he's now facing with brain cancer, an aggressive form called glioblastoma found after eye surgery to remove a blood clot.
It's the same type of cancer that killed McCain's close Democratic colleague, the late Ted Kennedy, as well as Joe Biden's son, Beau.
Fox's Jackie Ibanez.
Senator McCain now considering treatment, which usually includes radiation and chemotherapy. The average survival, 14 months.
The war hero's diagnosis prompting an outpouring of bipartisan support.
It was very emotional, almost kind of stunned disbelief for a minute.
And then North Dakota's John Hoeven says he and other Republican senators who'd been meeting on health care prayed. An initial vote still scheduled for next week on a health care bill in the Senate. Fox's Chad Pergram.
There's going to be a legislative consequence here with Senator McCain not being in Washington for quite a while he gets treatment for his brain tumor. There are only going to be 99 senators.
So far, Republicans haven't been able to get 50 to agree on replacing Obamacare. President Trump calling out the U.S. Attorney General over the Russia probe. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Lisa, the president says he would not have picked Jeff Sessions for Attorney General if he had known he would recuse himself from the Russia probe, telling the New York Times,
"It's extremely unfair, and that's a mild word, to the president."
President Trump said he wishes Sessions would have told him what he intended to do.
He should have told me before he took the job, and I would have picked somebody else.
The president also hinted that he would consider firing special counsel Robert Mueller if his investigation turns to his family's finances beyond connections to Russia. Lisa.
Meantime, Rachel, in a new Fox News poll, 65% say the Russians favored the Trump campaign in 2016, but voters are split at 43% on whether the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians for the win. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Being a small business owner, you wear many different hats. You're the innovator, the marketing director, the CFO. But when it comes to legal issues, do you have the degree necessary to defend your business? Having an attorney on retainer doesn't have to be as expensive as you think. Gone are the days of paying $10,000 a month for help. Legal Shield is there to deliver personalized legal counsel without the outrageous prices of traditional attorneys. Business plans include unlimited advice, contract review, trial hours, and collection letters. No longer will precious hours and resources be wasted. Find an attorney you can trust with your livelihood. Call your Legal Shield associate today. If you're new to Legal Shield, call your independent associate Karen at 224-622-8842. That's 224-662-8842. Legal Shield. Worry less, live more.
I met someone. You hear it a lot from people on Match because more people have met their someone on Match than on any other dating app. Everyone wants to find that meaningful connection, and Match is not only #1 in first, but second dates too. Now here's a free offer for our listeners. Go to Match.com/show for 7 days free. That's 7 days completely free to search, view photos, and connect. This free offer is found at Match.com/show. That's Match.com/show. Match.com/show.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, can I still take advantage of today's low rates? Is it still a good time to refinance? The answer is yes. Now's a great time to call Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Do you think identity theft is only when someone adds charges to your credit card? It's actually when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name or any number of bad things. LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to alert you to a huge range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, we have a team of U.S.-based specialists who will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Membership starts at $9.99 a month, plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-300-8038. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-300-8038. That's 1-800-300-8038. 1-800-300-8038.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park.
Get excited about it, will you?
The count of the cut down, I think is the moniker.
All right, we'll go with anything you want.
I have a question for consideration. Are the mentally challenged, are they people? Are they human beings?
Of course they are.
Oh, I don't know that it's so obvious to everyone. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Are the mentally challenged human beings? Yeah, you throw in those with severe physical disabilities as well. Are they human beings?
Yeah.
Well,
these are simple questions here. I thought it was going to be a tough, talk show here.
Oh, really? Well, in response to that, I introduce you to Jerry Coyne, who is a man of letters, unlike yourself.
All right.
He is a professor in the Department of Ecology and Human Evolution at the University of Chicago.
I lettered in football.
Okay.
All right.
On his Why Evolution is True blog, he recently made the case for infanticide. If you're allowed to abort a fetus that has a severe genetic defect, microcephaly, spina bifida, or so on, then why aren't you able to euthanize that same fetus just after it's born?
I like the argument the other way. What do you think of that?
Oh, that's a nice counter. But let me just complete his argument to be fair to the good professor.
Mm-hmm.
After all, he continues, newborn babies aren't aware of death, aren't nearly as sentient as sentient as an older child or adult, and have no rational faculties to make judgments, and if there's a severe mental disability, would never develop such faculties. It makes little sense to keep alive a suffering child who is doomed to die or suffer life in a vegetative or horribly painful state. Thus, kill them.
That was the Third Reich's argument, wasn't it?
Oh, now you've done it. What, are you trying to be a Rahner staffer?
Ooh, I like where this is going. See what you did there? See, boys, that's professional radio, not that yelling like someone peed in his Lucky Charms this morning.
I prefer the term micturated in my Lucky Charms. Governor Rahner, one of his staffers, coming under fire, Politico, Sun-Times reporting. Her name is Brittany Carl. She's in the communications. She's on the communications staff in the governor's office. I know Brittany.
Really?
And she is under fire for a blog post that she made on the topic of aborting children who are diagnosed with Down syndrome, for example. And we've talked about it on this show. For example, Iceland, every single child who's tested positive for Down syndrome in utero has been aborted in the last 7 years. Is that a good thing?
You know, I had a fake positive test with my first daughter.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah, we had a fake positive test. My wife and I had to wait 4 days to get the, at that time, you got to remember, she's 16 now. So at that time, they had, I think it's called an amnio, where we had to wait 4 days. And that's only because we were able to go to a doctor and pay. Otherwise, we would have had to wait a month through our plan at that time. So the stress that you go through, and, you know, the kid's just, she's argumentative, but thank God, everything was fine. She's just she's a teenage girl, but I mean, really, I'm joking, but you think about the people that get these false positive tests and act on it, and what you do. That's why, as a society, if we cannot agree that slaughtering the most innocent among us is wrong, how are we going to agree on fake money? How are we going to agree on socialized medicine? It's really shows the morality of society.
And it shows the disposition of the left that speaks in the parlance of compassion and practices barbarism. Or perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps the mentally challenged and physically disabled are not people, and so they can be discarded, as this University of Chicago professor suggests. Maybe that's the higher, better order. That's the utilitarian society in which we want to live, where certain lives are more important than others, and people are discardable. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Your reactions to this discussion. Going back to Brittany Carl, her blog post, she wrote, attempting to rid the world of people with Down syndrome simply because they are different constitutes the dangerous and morally reprehensible practice of eugenics, not entirely unlike what was practiced in Nazi Germany. And she added, certainly nothing matches the atrocity of the Holocaust, but it's undeniable that abortion is being used to rid the world of disabled and other quote-unquote unwanted persons, a fact the left and their pro-abortion allies don't want discussed. But, I mean, this has been interesting that Brittany Carl, this merits a story. So just so you understand the position of these outlets, the Chicago Sun-Times, Politico, these unbiased journals that just give you the straight facts, because the reporters have no perspective. That's why this is a controversy. So understand this, just to be clear. Aborting children because they have a mental or physical disability, that's not controversial. Defending the disabled, that's controversial. And this has put Brittany Carl, who's a lovely young woman, I know her husband Jared as well, in the crosshairs for a witch hunt from the left in this state. It has resulted in denunciations of Brittany Carl and talk of Bruce Rahner being some kind of extremist or culture warrior in the pejorative sense of that phrase by the likes of Terry Cosgrove at Personal Back, who's pro-abort. He probably, I don't know, maybe he supports University of Chicago professor Jerry Coyne, who believes in infanticide. Probably does, based on the kind of radical nature of Personal Pack when it comes to the sacrament in their view of abortion. She's at the center of a controversy now. The ADL, has called on her, to retract that statement because nothing compares to the Holocaust. Well, that's exactly what she said, ADL. Stop with the kind of pandering to the left-wing cranks. But unfortunately, I know ADL comes from the same space of abortion as a sacrament. But this is a staff controversy for the governor's office. So also here, understand something. The left, big government media, as represented by Natasha Korecki at Politico, and unfortunately, a reporter who I otherwise like, Tina Fondelis at Sun-Times, wants a litmus test to work in the governor's office. Would you have to be pro-abortion?
Right.
You have to understand that aborting children who have a physical or mental disability, that's not controversial. That's just kind of thoughtful moderation. Is that right?
Every once in a while, the consistency of a totalitarian shows itself, right? So this is how they really feel about people. Otherwise, how could you demand that we limit people's assets or we take from one to give to another group? So every once in a while, the socialist has a consistency where they show you a little bit of their leg. So in a way, I find it almost refreshing because they're showing you how they really think of their fellow man. They get to decide who lives and who dies.
I'll tell you what, too. I mean, and this goes to the Charlie Gard case. It goes to so many cases. It goes to the death panels. It goes to government rationing of healthcare services when the government takes over, as inevitably does when they're involved in any material way. But I'd love to hear from people who consider themselves pro-choice as well, because in the Republican Party, there's a lot of diversity of opinion on the topic, even though the Republican Party is a pro-life party overall. The Democrats, not so much. So, gosh, I don't know. Could a pro-lifer work for a Democrat governor in the minds of these reporters? Should Governor Rauner only hire people who are pro-choice who should have a litmus test, which the left eschews when it comes to Supreme Court nominees, but their litmus test for even staff?
Well, they found a way to get around the religious test, right? It's a legal way to maneuver around the religious test is to implement this test. Whereas in my world, kids are more important than parents, right? Mm-hmm. So in my world, the unborn kid is more important than the guy who's already here. And I feel that way when it comes to anything. That's why I want to leave, that's why I'm concerned about the debt and all these other things. It's that you feel the generation that you create is more important than you are.
Let me offer another case, speaking on this topic. Oregon. IQ costs Oregon parents their kids. The nursery in Amy Fabrina and Eric Ziegler's home is filled with unread children's books and unworn baby clothes. A Winnie the Pooh blanket lies untouched inside a crib where a child has never slept. For nearly 4 years, the Redmond, Oregon couple has been fighting to prove to the state of Oregon that they are intellectually capable of raising their children. The Department of Human Services removed both of their boys, saying the parents are too mentally limited to be good parents. They're 31 and 38 years old, respectively. They lost custody of their oldest son, Christopher, shortly after he was born. 5 months ago, the state took their second child, newborn Hunter, directly from the hospital. Both are now in foster care. I love the kids. I was raised around kids. My mom was a preschool teacher for 20-plus years, so I've always been around kids, said Fabrini, who's the mom. That's my passion. I love to do things with kids, and that's what I want to do in the future, something that has to do with kids. No abuse or neglect has been found, but each parent has a degree of limited cognitive abilities. The IQ test, Fabrini's, the mom's, is about 72. Ziegler's, the dad, is about 66, placing them in the mild range of intellectual disability.
So the government sees their kids because they don't like their IQ. Is that what you're telling me?
And, by the way, they both earned traditional high school diplomas.
Really?
Uh-huh. They both previously worked. He laid carpet. She worked as well. One volunteer with the state agency, Oregon State Agency, who oversaw visits with the couple, said they are saying they are intellectually incapable without any guidelines to go by. They're saying the foster care is a better provider for the child because she can provide more financially, provide better education, things like that. Well, if we're going to get on that train, Bill Gates should take my children. There's always somebody better than us, so it's a very dangerous position to be in to make it about necessarily IQ, because you can have people with very high IQs that are also bad parents, of course.
Why isn't there a money limit then? Right? If there's a smart limit, why isn't there a money limit?
A money threshold you have to clear
Yeah,
in order to have
you
kids.
lose your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, if we're going to do it, let's do it right. Right? Let's do it right. Let's have everything controlled by government, and then we could pay them to avoid the rules they put on us. See, this is the problem when government has power and a position of omnipotence in your life. That's why you have to reject this nonsense. And where are the lawyers running to the defense of these people?
Well, there's also the smart bias, right?
Where's the ACLU?
There's the smart bias. If you're smart, you're better. The idea that it doesn't have anything to do with moral compass, right? Smart is a synonym for better. Is it? Has there ever been an example in human history of somebody who is very intelligent and diabolical, somebody who's very smart and causes untold destruction?
You're not going to mention Russia, are you? Marx, Lenin, those guys?
On and on and on. History is replete with examples of such people, both that we know and that we don't know. It could be something as simple as a high IQ and a absentee parent. So this is incredible, and it goes to something David Mamet wrote a book about, The Secret Knowledge. People in government have the secret knowledge, and other elite institutions like the University of Chicago professor, who shall say when it's okay to drop the guillotine on who and when, and who gets to parent and who doesn't, because like we understood from the Charlie Gard case, the kids aren't your kids. Your two daughters, Sean, they're not your kids. They're the state's kids.
I prefer The Fatal Conceit by your dog. I thought that was a great book.
My dog's a very good writer.
Yeah.
And economist.
And an astronaut. So the reality is when you have a state that takes its power just by a little bit in, like, let's say, a school program, it's only a matter of time before they extend it to this. This is only the natural progression of socialism. It is rooted in force. It is rooted in arrogance. It is rooted in corruption. This is where it leads to. So at every time we have an opportunity, we need to slow it down. We need to strip its power away. So in this position, I am dying to know where the ACLU is. You hear that communist front group in every little area where it gets to expand the power of government. But when it really has to do what its name says, then it's absent. Then the communists are at some fundraiser for Democrats.
So my term for these thought leaders in media, ecology professors at the University of Chicago, who advance notions like this, who create controversies where none should exist over essentially thought crimes, decide what is in controversy and what is not. They're sophisticated barbarians. The emphasis on barbarians. The pedigree, the letters, the salary, the kind of standing in the public eye because you're a member of an institution that is supposed to be a pillar for civilization, and yet this is what we're getting from those institutions.
We're going to get to utopia. It's just going to be bumpy.
Tim in Woodstock, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer, and not all of us are going to make it.
Yeah.
Morning, Dan. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
I might have heard of this book first on your show, Dan. There's a book called The Architects of the Culture of Death, and it touches a lot on John Paul II's work, which he says the eclipse of the sense of God and man is typical of a social and cultural climate dominated by secularism. And he also, the authors also share that there's a common rejection amongst these architects of the culture of death of the great image of Christianity, and hence a common rejection of human beings as persons. And they go on to talk about the eugenic evolutionists, the secular utopians, the atheistic existentialists. And the idea is, once you get outside the idea of man being created and deriving his worth, being created in the image of God, it's all fair game out there.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Tim. You're right.
Position that makes me uncomfortable, because you can be an atheist and have the sense of property of the individual. See, I think when we say that, and by the way, I agree with the premise of that, but I also recognize throughout our history people who believed in the fundamental of liberty who were atheists. You know, you can be.
Yeah,
we have a caller.
Fine, but that's not where.
I mean, I know you don't like it, but it's true.
No, it has nothing to do with like.
Well, I could tell by that bitter little tone in your voice.
It's you're talking past the issue. The issue is, where does truth reside? So yes, could you be an atheist? Could you be a non-believer? And can you be a peaceful pluralist who is a defender of liberty and other people's rights? Sure, you could. Of course, you could.
So truth resides in your fundamentals.
Well, truth resides. Well, truth resides outside of you, actually. Because if you think truth comes from within you,
right, I agree.
That's when we're down another road to perdition.
That's why I respect an atheists who feel that way. You have to respect them. It's outside of themselves, and they can, and they do.
And Tim from Woodstock's point about eugenics and part of this discussion, Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, eugenicist.
Now, that wasn't the guy who drove around in a boat to avoid his taxes that Tom Cruise and John Travolta canoodled to, right? That's L. Ron Hubbard. Is that eugenics or what is that?
That's Dianetics.
Whatever. One of those nonsense made-up things.
John in Hidalgo, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning.
Morning.
I was just going to put out there that the people that have these children that are mentally deficient, I've been around a number of them, and they always seem to bring joy to people around them, whether the person there, we had one in our church that, you know, he was basically an invalid, but he still brought joy to everybody around him. And, you know, the kids would gather around him and sing songs on Sunday morning and things of that nature. And so just because people think that they're not going to have, if you will, a normal life, like, and I don't know who makes up that graph as far as what normal is.
Well, it's a congressman. Haven't you been paying attention to the show?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Here's the other thing.
Go ahead.
Here's the other thing it does. It brings thought to the people that see them. You know, this is why the socialist doesn't like them around. Because it really shows you the character of yourself when you see somebody there. What do you really feel? What do you really feel? Do you feel respect along with some pity? Or do you feel domination and control? It shows you who you are inside, and you could see it in the political policies of the socialist. What do they want to do?
Right.
They want to kill them. That's what she's saying.
Thanks for the call, Phil. Right. Appreciate it, but I agree with you. It's a reflection of our humanity. I'm sorry.
You and your fancy words.
Looking at the next caller. Who was that from Hidalgo?
I can't see. I got no screens. I got nothing.
Anyway,
you're walking in with 30 seconds to the show. The whole place is chaos.
Thank you for the call. Philip on the north side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is a great show. You guys got great topics, and it should be repeated about 5 o'clock every day. You know, I just called the governor's office yesterday. We should get a pro-life license plate in Illinois, or at least in God We Trust plate in Illinois, and they won't give one. I just talked to the governor's office yesterday because we've been fighting for it for 16 years. We've got Cubs plates, Sox plates, Mason plates, all kinds of stupidity plates. We can't get a pro-life plate, but we're getting 666 numbers put on us all over the whole state, not only on license plates, but also on tax ID numbers and all this nonsense. And now we got the so-called Satanists, which are really probably the ACLU, putting down satanic monuments to national cemeteries and taking down crosses in the public eye. You know, Sean's completely right, and so are you. This is one of the best shows I've listened to. You guys are so right, and your age brackets are perfect because, you know something? Everybody under me in my family, I'm the oldest out of 91st cousins, they all look at me like I'm on another planet, and it drives me nuts. I've got 3 or 4 conservatives, and the rest are so brainwashed and so pro-abortion and all this other stuff, and if you even disagree slightly, they look at you like you're nuts, and they're the ones that act like the dictators. It drives me crazy.
Thanks for the call, Phil. And the Choose Life license plate, which I've been involved in as well.
You've got one on your car, right?
I have a license plate holder because we don't have the license plate, the specialty plate, like more than 24 other states have. And the voluntary premium that you pay for a specialty plate, for the Choose Life plate in this state, like other states, would go to fund adoption service providers. Never made it out of the light of day in the House controlled by pro-life Speaker Mike Madigan. Imagine that.
Jeez. So should I cancel my live free or die plate request? Not going to happen?
Probably not here.
All right.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Burger King presents Breakfast Stories. Here's Pete, Tony, and the 2 for $4 croissant deal.
The other day, Pete and I go to Burger King for my croissant sandwich. You know, they're just 2 for $4.
Oh, it's my favorite. I'm like, what?
Yeah, so I got 2 croissant sandwich, and I gave one to this guy.
I'm like, who are you?
I'm the guy that just paid for your breakfast.
That's my favorite guy.
You guys. The croissant deal is 2 for $4. Now made with 100% butter for a soft and flaky croissant. Get 2 croissant sandwiches now for $4 only at Burger King. Price and participation vary.
Here's the scoop on garden soil. Sometimes it needs help from the Home Depot, where bags of Miracle-Gro garden soil are a special buy, 3 for just $10. It improves existing soil with nutrients plants need for stronger roots, so they'll hit the ground running, starting with much better ground. Miracle-Gro garden soil, 3 bags, $10. Now at the #1 retailer for Scott's Miracle-Gro, the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through August 2nd while supplies last. Contiguous U.S. only. Limit 80 per customer.
Friday, July 28th, you're invited to be a part of sharing the good news that there is hope after abortion. Lake County Right to Life invites you to hear Vicki Thorne, founder of Project Rachel and the executive director of the National Office of Post-Abortion Reconciliation and Healing. Admission is free to the Lake County Right to Life annual banquet on Friday, July 28th at the Doubletree by Hilton in Mundelein. An internationally renowned researcher, noted for her work on the biology of bonding and attachment, Thorne will address abortion, its aftermath, and the theology of the body. The Lake County Right to Life banquet is a free event, but there will be an opportunity to make a financial contribution to support this pro-life education and action organization. To reserve a place at the Lake County Right to Life annual banquet on Friday, July 28th, call 847-223-7022 or register online at lcrtl.org. That's lcrtl.org.
Today, we're talking about your budget and budget blinds.
People get so hung up on that word budget.
Listen, everybody's got a budget. Budget blinds is all about getting the window coverings you really want at a price that fits your budget.
Right. They have exclusive designer styles, hundreds of choices.
And Budget Blinds gives you expert service. None of that do-it-yourself. The pros bring the showroom to you, then do it all. Measure and install.
What a relief.
That's style and service for every budget.
And right now, during their 25th anniversary celebration, it's the biggest sale of the year with special upgrades and offers.
Explain the free upgrades like the invisible tilt for shutters.
Make shutters look cleaner, more contemporary. Same with the free cordless upgrade on honeycomb shades. No cords. Looks sleek and uncluttered.
I like that. Just call this number. It's easy to remember. 855-BUDGET-BLINDS.
855, then the name, Budget Blinds, or go online.
BudgetBlinds.com.
Remember, budget means getting custom window coverings at a price that fits your budget. And remember, 855-BUDGET BLINDS.
Offer good on selected products at participating independently owned and operated franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy this morning, and coming up at 6:36, we're going to talk to Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy about, who's been a Trump loyalist as well, about Trump's comments on Attorney General Sessions, about the policy agenda, and what the prospects are for movement in Congress. But now we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Sean. 71 degrees in Chicago at 6:31 at AM 560. The Answer from the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Sunny and hot today, intermittent thunderstorms through the day and a high of 90. The public now knows the identity of another victim of serial killer John Wayne Gacy. Sheriff Tom Dart says 16-year-old James Hawkinson of St. Paul was killed by Gacy in August of 1976.
He was killing so many people that he was burying people on top of each other. And so in this situation, Jimmy's remains were found immediately underneath another young man's remains.
Hawkinson's remains were found in the crawl space of Gacy's home in 1978. Authorities used DNA testing to identify the boy. We're learning more about how Governor Rauner's choice to run DCFS handed out jobs to friends and allies. The Chicago Tribune reports the state watchdog's reports show that under former Director George Sheldon, the state paid $262,000 to a friend of Sheldon's and business partner for a technology contract. Sheldon resigned in the wake of a scandal involving the misuse of gift cards intended for teenage wards of the state. Thousands of homeowners without power this morning after overnight storms across Chicagoland. ComEd says there are outages throughout the suburbs. President Trump blasting Attorney General Jeff Sessions for recusing himself from the Russia investigation. He tells the New York Times that he never would have appointed Sessions if he knew the former senator was going to recuse himself.
How do you take a job and then recuse yourself? If he would have recused himself before the job, I would have said, thanks, Jeff, but I can't, I'm not going to take you. It's extremely unfair, and that's a mild word, to the president.
Sessions recused himself after word of his meetings with the Russian ambassador emerged. Senator John McCain's been diagnosed with brain cancer. The 80-year-old found out he had glioblastoma after surgery for a blood clot above his left eye. McCain and his family are looking at treatment possibilities now. In sports, Cubs win their 6th in a row, beating the Braves 8-2. The Sox lose to the Dodgers 9-1 in a rain-shortened game. Both teams are off today. In the WNBA, the Sky visit the LA Sparks. The news, the service of Accountemps. In today's economy, highly skilled accounting and finance professionals can be hard to find. As the leader in specialized temporary staffing, Accountemps provides top accounting and finance talent where and when you need it most. Visit AccountTemps.com. That's Accountemps, a Robert Half company. AM 560 News Time, 6:34. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Home isn't just a place, it's the feeling of knowing you're safe. ADT lets you take that feeling with you. Learn more at ADT.com.
Safety. It's so important at your industrial facility. You need to keep your personnel safe and meet OSHA requirements. One problem with your ladders, platforms, or safety guards, and you could be facing costly fines. Vans Industrial helps you meet OSHA standards to keep your employees safe.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. As a business owner, I realize the importance of keeping my employees safe, and I'm here to offer my expertise. Vans Industrial is a specialty contractor uniquely equipped to design, fabricate, and install safety equipment, including walkways, handrails, stairways, and machinery guards. Our Vans Industrial team can inspect existing systems, engineer solutions, fabricate quality goods, and install them with trained pros, all making a safer environment for your employees.
Call 219-931-4881 today for a free inspection of your facility. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS industrial.com. Quality craftsmanship since 1964.
All right, I know you're bombarded with MyPillow ads everywhere you turn, not only from me, but on TV, billboards, and in print. But the reason is simple. It's the best pillow available. You deserve a restful and relaxing summer. And the July radio deal using my name, Amy, in the promo code is the best deal available. It's the 50% discount on a MyPillow 4-pack, including 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows for half the price. You can move the fill to give you the exact support you need regardless of sleep position. You'll sleep deep and won't wake up to a stiff neck or headache. And our good friend Mike Lindell manufactures them in America using only American labor. You can wash and dry them. They're hypoallergenic. And you get a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So get your 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
At 6:36 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. Lots of crashes this morning. 8094 westbound. It's jammed. Grant to Calumet Avenue. A collision has 2 left lanes blocked. Inbound 8 says heavy delays. Winnetka Road to Church Street. 2 left lanes remain blocked after an earlier crash with injuries. 35 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. Kennedy, 38 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 39. The Eisenhower's 53 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 46. Crash at York Road in the right lane. Stevenson, an hour and 12 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 42 minutes. Ryan is 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow 111th, 31st. The Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway jammed. Barrington to Roselle. And the Tri-State to the River Road Toll. Traffic service of LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, the U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
And now your forecast, to serviceofaircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny and hot today. Look for a morning thunderstorm or two, and then another thunderstorm possible later today, a high of 90. Warm and humid tonight, patchy clouds, low 71. Tomorrow, partly sunny with showers and a heavier thunderstorm with a high of 87. Right now, it's 70 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 7 o'clock. Get continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now, more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the truth of the foreclosure crisis. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now, and make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park, the
Gallagher
Duke of
got it wrong.
Disparagement. The Duke of Disparagement. How do you like that?
I like it. It's not bad. I mean, I'll take it. You name me, and we'll let the people decide.
Yeah, okay. What did you say? Gallagher what?
Guy got it wrong, Dan and
Gallagher,
Amy.
the guy who smashes watermelons?
Yeah. No, well, the same thing, really. No, the Gallagher that follows the show. Got it wrong.
He said Dan and Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, your stay...
We couldn't get him to redo that? I mean, come on.
Your stay is so temporary.
Yeah, how about Thursdays with Sean? I say we make this a permanent thing on Thursday. The people will love it.
That motion will not get a second. Donald Trump, White House lunch with Republican senators yesterday, and did his best William J. Lepedemain impersonation when it came to one Dean Heller, Republican senator from Nevada. Listen to Trump talking about Obamacare and folding in Senator Heller.
Sessions gets the job.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right after...
That's not the one.
Same innuendo.
This...
Well, look at who can't find the button, the big pro.
I've got the... thanks for your support. What... For goodness sake.
You want me to do it? Here's the deal. You either vote the way I want, or I'll make sure you're not elected.
The other night, I was very surprised when
Well, anyway,
all right. You can't do it. He doesn't know what he's doing. Get the kid in here with the silly hairdo.
So anyway, he was... He went after Heller, basically saying that he'll fold in on Obamacare repeal because, he wants to remain a senator, and they guffawed, and then there was a bit of awkwardness. And in addition to that, then after that, he went over to the New York Times, and he went off on Jeff Sessions. So it was an interesting day for the president on a range of topics. For more on both topics, we're pleased to be joined by Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy from the 7th, up north of the Cheese Curtain. Sean, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's good to be with you guys up from the land of where Chicago's vacation spot. You guys come up and see us there and spend a lot of money. We like it.
Yeah, actually, a lot of us are coming up and staying there permanently, as in relocating there with what's happening in Illinois. But in terms of what's happening in D.C., as a member of the Republican caucus that did move an Obamacare replacement out of the House, what's your perspective on the problems in the Senate?
Listen, this problem has existed for a long time. But usually the focus was always on the House. And the Senate always liked to focus on the House as well. And this is one of the first times that the House has actually worked its will. We passed a health care bill. We sent it over to the Senate. And now America gets to watch the dysfunction of how the Senate operates.
Well,
and it's frustrating. And so, I think Mitch McConnell is doing all he can. I know people are frustrated with Mitch, but doing all he can to push different variations of different packages on health care reform, through his conference where he needs 51 votes to get, this culture to bring it to the floor for debate. And now that he's saying, here's what we're going to do. You all want, like Rand Paul, you all want a straight repeal? All right, let's bring that to the floor now. He's crafty and he's unique, and I think in the end we're going to get health care repeal and replace through the Senate. It's just going to be an incredibly painful process.
Well, Sean, I got a question. For 7 years, politicians have run on ripping it out root and branch. In fact, Mitch McConnell, in between shaving sessions, ran on the fact he was going to rip it out. These are his words, root and branch. See, that's what I want, Sean. I don't want government in control of my health care because I realize it's just health care. I'm not, it's just insurance, excuse me, that they're using health care when the reality is what they want to do is middle the insurance play. I don't want government in the middle. Am I ever going to go back to pre-Obamacare, or am I just going to have to deal with different versions of the same principled thing?
So here's what you're happening. This is the knowledge that Democrats have. Once you give someone something and they start to get it for free, it's really hard to take it away from them. Even though by taking away Obamacare and still supporting people who don't make that much money to get into a marketplace and buy health insurance, their product is going to be better. Free markets bring you better prices and better services. Government-run anything never outperforms the private market, never, ever. And so liberals know, though, when they passed Obamacare, it was going to be hard for Republicans to take the gifts of Obamacare away. I mean, the essential services, all the mandates in health care, everyone loves that insurers have to cover, gold-plated services. The problem is that stuff is really expensive. And this was I don't always applaud Ted Cruz, but Ted Cruz said, all right, this was his amendment. These insurers have to offer Obamacare gold and silver plans, but they can also offer other plans that don't have all the bells and whistles of an Obamacare plan, but there'll be plans that fit the risk that people have in their lives at a price that they can actually afford, actually making a market work. But you're now seeing, again, how difficult it is for the Senate to move when you're taking things away from people.
Yeah, here's the thing about that argument, the difficulty in taking away something you quote-unquote gave somebody, just despite the problems with that formulation from all kinds of premises that it from which it flows that should be rejected out of hand. C.S. Lewis said courage is the formation of every virtue at its testing point. In other words, if you don't have courage, it's impossible to possess any other virtue because when you're tested, you will fold. And it seems to me that the real problem is not that it's difficult to, quote-unquote, take something back that you've conferred to someone. It's that we have a lot of big government Republicans who lie, who are not virtuous, and thus are cowards.
I would agree that people don't have the courage to do what's right in this situation. But again, I want to come back to this point. We do have big government Republicans. I mean, our senator from Maine and from Alaska. We have other senators who come from very moderate states. So though they in their heart might want to go with us on a straight repeal and replace that's going to let markets work, they don't want to go there. Their constituents. I think Dean Heller, who you were mentioning earlier in the program, is probably one of them. I mean, Nevada has changed, and so I think he's probably concerned about his reelection. But what we have to do in our public service is put our jobs in second place to our country. Our country comes first, and making sure you get health care reform done in a way that's going to help people out. And my goodness, if people send you home, so be it. You're going to be fine. But be bold and strong. To your point, have courage to do what's right. But I know everyone is frustrated, as am I, with the Senate, that they can't come to some kind of an agreement. I do think the pressure that they're getting right now from across America and from their constituents, on the Republican side, at least, it's usually just been the left, the Democrats that have been coming for them. Now you're seeing Republicans coming after Republican senators and making sure they understand that no action is absolutely unacceptable, that America can't be left with Obamacare. And if they do nothing, if they can't find agreement, the right is going to be absolutely livid. And I think you're going to see a bloodbath in the Senate. And I think these guys understand this. And that's why I think they're going to come around and find some kind of a deal somewhere at some point in August.
I know you were an early supporter of Trump. I remember you speaking at the convention last year. And I wonder what you think of his interview at the New York Times yesterday, particularly as it pertains to Jeff Sessions. And the idea that if he had known Jeff Sessions was going to recuse himself from the Russian collusion investigation, he would have not selected him to be his attorney general nominee, and that Jeff Sessions should have disclosed that, and it's all very unfair to the president that he didn't.
So 2 points. First of all, why is President Trump speaking to the New York Times?
Good question.
These are not your friends. You're not. I mean, all they're going to do is take your interview and try to destroy you with it. They're not going to treat you fairly. You complain every day, multiple times a day, that these guys are part of the fake news organization. You don't sit down and talk to these people, especially, in politics, we don't mind tough interviews, but you want that tough interview to be a fair interview, and you're never going to get that from the New York Times. So I don't know why the president's sitting down with them for an hour. This just doesn't make sense to me. But to your question on Sessions, I do agree with the president. What the heck? Jeff Sessions knows that he didn't collude with the Russians, knew he wasn't influenced by the Russians. So I don't think there was any reason for him to recuse himself from the investigation. Now, I think at the Department of Justice, Sessions, with all the things that the department has going on, would have sent a team to go, okay, find out what involvement Russia had in the American election. And if you had people colluding with them, I want to know about it. And if they committed crimes, we're going to prosecute them. And I don't care if they're part of the Donald Trump campaign or the Hillary Clinton campaign. That could have easily been done. But when Sessions recused himself and all of a sudden sets this chain reaction to now where you have Mueller in as a special counsel, and you do have this witch hunt, not just by Mueller, but going back to Republicans in the House. Republicans control the House and the Senate, and they have hearing after hearing on Donald Trump and Russia. And this is what gets me, is there's a lot of public information that we've had from these hearings and public documents, but we've had a lot of private information that's been leaked to the press. We basically know all the inside information about what's happened between Donald Trump and Russia, and whether it is James Clapper from the Obama administration or whether it's James Comey, who's publicly testified under oath. Everybody has said they've seen no evidence of collusion between Donald Trump and Russia. So what the hell are we doing with multiple congressional hearings and a special counsel to investigate something that everyone with knowledge has said there's no evidence that this collusion exists? And I think for the president, this is so frustrating that he's dealing with this the Russia witch hunt, instead of being able to get down to the business of helping push policies that help the American people, that help the forgotten men and women who haven't had a raise or haven't had opportunities for new jobs. That's the problem, I think, with the Russia investigation. It takes people off, it takes the administration a little bit off track. And I think the president's at his wit's end.
He is Sean Duffy, congressman from Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District. Sean, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
You guys have a great morning. Thank you.
And he joined us on Turnkey.pro answer line.
You're thanking him or you're thanking me?
Sean.
All right, let's thank the right guy.
And here's Trump yesterday with Heller. I've got the clip now. Trump with Heller at the White House lunch doing his William J. Lepedemain routine.
The other night, I was very surprised when I heard a couple of my friends, they really were and are. They might not be very much longer, but that's okay. I think I have to get them back. That's right. I refuse. Well, no, you didn't go out there. This was the one we were worried about. You weren't there, but you're going to be. Look, he wants to remain a senator, doesn't he? Okay.
That was to Dean Heller, and see if it rings as familiar for you as it does me.
We've got to protect our phony baloney job, gentlemen. We must do something about this immediately. Harumph, 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 harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy. Give the governor harumph. Harumph.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. President Trump chastising Senate Republicans for their failure on health care legislation. The NASDAQ and S&P hit record highs again. Driverless cars get a boost. Those stories next.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? You should know. The credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people. They're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-975-5115. 800-975-5115. That's 800-975-5115.
President Trump scolding Senate Republicans for failing to reach agreement on repealing and replacing Obamacare. 49 lawmakers who attended a lunch with the president were told they shouldn't leave for a planned August recess until they've solved the health care crisis. The Nasdaq Composite and S&P 500 hitting record highs, driven by technology and a 20% jump in pharmaceutical company Vertex stock, which unveiled a potential treatment for cystic fibrosis. A congressional panel approving legislation to permit car makers to increase the testing of driverless cars on roads. The bill allows car companies to deploy 100,000 self-driving vehicles without meeting current safety standards. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern, on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
How would you like to have insurance for your computer network, something to protect your hardware and software, and more importantly, give you peace of mind? Using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your systems is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, your company gets a full team of certified technicians who are there for you, working in the background to ensure your systems are up and running. They'll help you over the phone and make house calls to your workplace. And Turnkey IT doesn't wait until there's an emergency call because they work hard to take preventative measures, keeping your network secure, backed up, and running on-stop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with the Turnkey experience, where everything is included: office hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, and unlimited remote and on-site support. Find out what Turnkey IT can do for your company today. It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Do you crave work that matters? 20 years ago, Bob Buford's book Halftime took business leaders from success to significance in their work. That book started a movement and the Halftime Institute. Now, from Institute CEO Dean Nawalny comes the next new powerhouse book, Trade Up. Building on Bob's legacy, Trade Up shows marketplace leaders how to not just make money, but make a difference. If the word smoldering discontent describe you, then trade up. Go to halftime.org. That's halftime.org.
3 Doors Down, Us in the Night Tour 2017. 3 Doors Down with special guest Filter, Saturday, July 22nd, Grand Victoria Casino in Elgin. Tickets on sale now at gbctickets.com. 3 Doors Down, part of the Grand Victoria Summer Concert Series. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So, what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-700-2119. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-700-2119. That's 1-800-700-2119. 1-800-700-2119.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy this morning. And coming up at 7:07...
You forgot, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
All right.
If I can do it uninterrupted.
All right, hurry. It's radio.
Thank you. This has been a real education with you. Should Donald Trump's personal finances be subject to independent counsel, but the post offices shouldn't be? And we'll also discuss the health situation with Senator John McCain. That's coming up at 7:07. But now we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Among the stories we're watching this morning, DNA tests have ID'd another John Wayne Gacy victim. A 911 dispatcher's facing charges in a road rage case. Fear of flooding's on the rise in the northern suburbs. In sports, the Cubs win, the Sox lose. Both teams are off today. Those stories and more after a check of the national headlines from Fox News. You're listening to AM 560 The Answer, WIND Chicago, 70 degrees at 7 o'clock.
An outpouring of support for Senator John McCain. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The war hero, who's now 80, has brain cancer. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Lisa, this is an aggressive form of brain cancer that killed Ted Kennedy and Beau Biden, son of former Vice President Joe Biden.
It's going to be a tough way forward, but he says, I've been through worse.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham reacting to the news of Senator McCain's diagnosis. Doctors at the Mayo Clinic found the tumor during surgery to move a blood clot over McCain's left eye. The Arizona Republican and his family now reviewing treatment options, which may include a combination of chemotherapy and radiation. Lisa.
Thanks, Rachel. It's rare for a president to criticize his own attorney general, but President Trump does in a New York Times interview.
Jeff Sessions takes the job, gets into the job, recuses himself.
The president calling that extremely unfair and saying if he'd known Sessions was going to recuse himself in the Russia probe, he'd have picked someone else for attorney general. Also suggesting he might fire special counsel Robert Mueller if the Russia probe expands into the Trump family finances. O.J. Simpson has served the minimum for an armed robbery in Nevada, so he has a parole hearing today.
Former Clark County DA David Rogers says 9 years is a long time to serve for this crime. He thinks it's likely Simpson will be paroled. His former attorney, Yale Galanter, agrees. When he thinks back on the Vegas trial, he thinks Simpson was convicted in part for writing a book called If I Did It about the 1994 murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown and her friend Ron Goldman, of which he was acquitted.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal in Carson City, heading to Lovelock Correctional Center, where the hearing's about 5 hours from now. A candlelight vigil in Colorado marking 5 years since the movie theater massacre in Aurora. She survived.
Just be grateful for what you have in life, because you don't know what's going to happen next. You really don't.
Shooter James Holmes is serving life for killing 12, wounding dozens. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Good morning. 70 degrees in Chicago at 7:02 on AM 560 The Answer. I'm David Stewart from the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Sunny and hot today with intermittent thunderstorms, looking toward a high of 90. A boy who left St. Paul in 1976 to come to Chicago has been identified as a victim of serial killer John Wayne Gacy. Sheriff Tom Dart says DNA tests in Chicago confirm the ID of James Byron Hawkinson.
Jimmy was 16 years old at the time when he was murdered by John Gacy. Jimmy was an incredibly special kid.
His sister is Lori Sisterman.
It's just awful that this is the way he died.
The teen's remains found in Gacy's crawl space in 1978 but were unidentified until now. Gacy was executed in 1994. An investigation's underway after a Chicago 911 dispatcher shot a woman on the southwest side. Police say it happened yesterday after the city employee got into a traffic dispute with the victim in the 3500 block of South Ashland. The victim hospitalized in stable condition. The shooter suffered a head injury. A man and his 2 young children are wounded after a shooting on the west side. Police say the father, his 4-year-old son, and 6-year-old daughter were shot yesterday in the 5500 block of West Van Buren as they were getting snow cones after day camp. No arrests have been made. More concerns about flooding in the northern suburbs. The rivers were receding, but officials are now watching the impact of the rains that fell overnight and those forecasts for today. Governor Rauner was in Round Lake yesterday.
I've seen anything from a half-inch forecast to 4 inches. We had another 4 inches of rain. We got big trouble.
Rauner says he expects to apply for federal aid to cover the costs from the flooding. In sports, Cubs win number 6 in a row, beating the Braves 8-2. The Sox lose to the Dodgers 9-1 in a rain-shortened game. And Mitch Trubisky has signed his 4-year rookie contract to quarterback the Bears. The news is service of Burger King Restaurant. Right now at participating Burger King restaurants, you can get 2 croissant sandwich breakfast sandwiches for just $4. That's 2 croissant sandwich breakfast sandwiches for just $4. Breakfast on a light, flaky croissant only at Burger King. Price and participation vary and restrictions apply. AM 560 News Time 7:04. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%, APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Think you can't manage the down payment it takes to purchase a new home? Think again. You could move into a $150,000 home with as little as $1,500 down with our 1% down payment option. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Do you think identity theft is only when someone adds charges to your credit card? It's actually when someone pretends to be you to open new accounts in your name or any number of bad things. LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to alert you to a huge range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, we have a team of U.S.-based specialists who will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Membership starts at $9.99 a month, plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off.
At 7:06 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. On the inbound Edens, traffic is jammed. Willow to Church Street, where a crash, which happened early this morning, still has 2 left lanes blocked. Major injuries involved. It's 45 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 48. That's a Gapers delay. The inbound Kennedy, now 1 hour and 7 minutes. O'Hare to downtown with rain slowing everything down. 31 minutes from Montrose, 28 in the Express. Outbound 36 minutes to Montrose, 59 to the airport. Not Eisenhower. 1 hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. 48 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 39 minutes to Manheim. 1 hour and 4 minutes to Thorndale. Crash at York in the right lane. Stevenson. Hour and 12 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 52 minutes. Ryan is 34 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 30 minutes. I-80 to the Marriage Bishop 427. Northbound Tri-State delays. 111th, 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway from Higgins to Roselle. Also approaching the Kennedy at 7th. Reagan Tollway. Slow from the Aurora Toll to 355 and 83 to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorials from 75th to 290. 8094 has delays westbound Grant to Calumet Avenue after a crash. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
And now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. And here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Couple of morning thunderstorms around, followed by an afternoon shower or thunderstorm in spots. Otherwise, humid with clouds and sun today, high 91. Heat index readings 100 to 105 for the afternoon. Patchy clouds for the night tonight, low 71. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
At the lakefront now 69 degrees. It's 70 at Midway, 70 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Get continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is Sean from Elmwood Park. And Sean, of course, the unfortunate news yesterday that Senator John McCain has brain cancer, glioblastoma, which is basically malignant brain tumor. You have to turn your mic on so people can hear you.
Well, the kid's supposed to do it with the haircut. It's terrible that, I like him. He's okay. But, the whole country's on hold now. Move on. Special election. I hope you do well. You know what I mean?
So you think you should step down?
Absolutely. It's not like you're going to come back from this.
Well, I
I hope you live another 100 years. Go ahead. 200 is fine.
Well, Karen Lewis came back from it at the Chicago Teachers Union, and I know we both vehemently disagree with her politics, but I'm glad she came back and she's able to work and she's recovering. I know that the prognosis on these things is pretty dire, 14 months. But I think Karen Lewis has exceeded that, too. So, you never know.
Karen Lewis is a union president. She doesn't represent the flow and ebb of the country. This guy's a U.S. senator, for God's sakes. I hope you do well. Here you go. Get out of office. Here's 2 coins for the river, man. Let's get somebody else in there so I can get this health care pulled off of me.
Very gracious exit you're offering, Senator McCain.
He's not my uncle. All of a sudden, everybody, I hope he does well. Just get out of the way.
Okay.
They should have to pass a physical and an IQ test and a drug test. I'll tell you another thing. You see Nancy Pelosi?
I see why you watched out of Hallmark.
6 times Nancy Pelosi calls Trump Bush. That decrepit old thing. Dianne Feinstein with the speed racer hairdo. Let's get them all out. Enough of these old bags ruining everything. They're from the worst generation ever. Just get them out of the way.
Okay. All right.
I hope he does good.
Well, yeah, clearly. Yeah, I think that's not quite as generous as the tweets from President Trump and President Obama and
because everybody's his best
Clinton.
friend.
Well, I admit to a certain pro forma nature of these things, which you don't subscribe to clearly.
Not at all. Be consistent. Listen, I didn't like him as a politician. I thought he was a buffoon from the time he started arming who he didn't know in the Middle East right up until now. The only reason we had Obama is because of his inadequacies as a candidate. So good for you. I hope you did well. I was a little worried when you couldn't remember your address, but now just move on. Go away. I hope you live long.
Okay. All right.
This is about the country.
Well, it is, and it's serious.
Listen, you're not paying what I'm paying in health care.
True. I don't have a family, so I don't have those responsibilities and thus those costs as well. I understand, but in terms of the affliction, though, just talking about capacity. It depends, I suppose. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I do know Don Wade, of course.
Yeah,
Saint Don Wade, Don and Roma, WLS, who really gave me my start in radio. That's what he had, brain cancer, and he survived with it, fought it for about a year until he succumbed to it, and he and Roma had to retire about 3 months after his diagnosis. That's when me and Bruce Wolf took over their morning show for a couple of years over there. So it's, as everybody understands, this is a serious thing, and you understand the prognosis, and you hope that Senator McCain beats it. And then at some point, there does need to be a discussion if you're incapacitated, if you're incapacitated, if that is a seat that should be filled, or if it becomes something where it's, nobody wants to be gauche, but there is nobody's going to be in these seats forever because we're all here for a short time. And so at some point you have to do the right thing by those to whom you have responsibilities, not just what you would otherwise desire to do if you could.
Dying's part of life. 7,000 people a day die in this country. Dying's a part of life. Hey, you had a great life. Look at all he achieved in his life. It is a life that should be celebrated. Wonderful. God bless you. Move on. In the meantime, the whole country doesn't get held up because of one person, I don't think. Get him out of the way. Let's move on. Because I got an insurance quote for $2,400 a month, and nobody's sick in the family. I want it to stop yesterday.
Speaking of yesterday, Trump sat down with the New York Times. You talked about what he had to say about Attorney General Sessions and the need to, not the need, but that Sessions should have told him that he was going to recuse himself, because then Trump would have appointed or would have nominated a different candidate to be Attorney General. I think Trump kind of inartfully addressed that issue and created yet another controversy that gives the appearance that he wants an Attorney General that's loyal to him, not loyal to the U.S. Constitution and the rule of law. I don't know if that's what he meant or not. You could impute more well-intended thoughts than were articulated, but it's getting a bit tiresome to do that. But another part of the discussion, though, was about the special counsel and whether Mueller should have such wide range that he can look at Trump's personal finances. Trump was asked that question. Here's his response.
Mueller was looking at your finances, your family's finances, unrelated to Russia. Is that a red line?
Would that be a breach of what his actual
I would say yes.
is?
Yeah, I would say yes. By the way, I would say I mean, it's possible that it's condo or something. So, I sell a lot of condo units, and somebody from Russia buys a condo. Who knows? I don't make money from Russia. In fact, I put out a letter saying that I don't make, from one of the most highly respected law firms and accounting firms. I don't have buildings in Russia. They said I own buildings in Russia. I don't. They said I made money from Russia. No, it's not my thing. I don't do that. Over the years, I've looked at maybe doing a deal in Russia, but I never did one.
I'm completely on Trump's side on this.
Well, I know, because he thinks and talks just like you. He's all over the place.
Get out of here. I don't sell.
I mean, I'll tell you what. You go to the New York Times, you should treat that like you're going to opposing counsel for a deposition. They asked if that's a red line, Mueller investigating his personal finances. If the answer is yes, say, yes, it is. That is beyond his scope. Then he goes off on this soliloquy about his business interests that he doesn't have in Russia, except maybe some Russians bought a condo from. I mean, it's just
because he's on the defense. He's getting in front of what he foresees as a problem.
Okay. Is that what he's doing? He's getting in front of this.
From his perspective.
And from my perspective, he needs to be much more disciplined, particularly when he's facing hostile questioning. If I was a prosecutor, I'd love to have this guy in the stand.
I agree with you. And here's what he should say, and here's what everyone affiliated with Trump should say. Are you going to investigate the Uranium One contribution business interest to Bill Clinton and the Clinton Foundation? That's it. When you investigate that, then you come after me for selling a condo to somebody named Yuri. Go ahead.
Well, I agree that the Republican side, if you will, on this, including the administration, should keep these other scandals and curious business dealings of Hillary Clinton and Democrat hefes in the public domain so people don't forget about them. It's not that we obsess about them. It's not even about a misdirection play from the Russian collusion investigation, but it's to continue to put pressure on the House and Senate committees, as well as the special counsel, to make sure this wide-ranging investigation is wide-ranging in a fair an equitable way, such as looking into a lot of curious stories that have a lot of substantiation that involve a lot of Democrats. Oh, and oh, by the way, another one came out yesterday. U.S. Post Office. How about this?
I know Dianne Feinstein's husband lists all the properties from C.B. Richard Ellis. No collusion there. How come there's no collusion when it comes to the husbands of these senators and these congresswomen? You think Pelosi's husband would be selling anything but condos if it wasn't for her? Come on.
Well, it turns out that neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these postal carriers from their appointed rounds for the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Exactly.
Because this is an inspector special counsel report that was released yesterday that found the culture and practice was it's mandatory, it's the directive. This Adam Miles, acting director of the Office of Special Counsel, told Senate lawmakers. And the mandatory, the directive, the culture and practice was to take time off to work for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign in violation of the Hatch Act and get overtime for doing so.
Oh, he got overtime. I love it.
Yeah.
The post office is a joke. It's like Amtrak and all the rest of these hybrid entities that we fund failure. And the more you fail, the more you get. So you could prance around in those ugly shorts. I think they should at least give the job to ex-strippers. Just if you're going to walk them around the neighborhood handing bad news out, make them somewhat attractive.
Perhaps a inspector general post at the post office is in your future. To your point about the post office, in terms of maybe a special counsel looking into their finances, since lawmakers who have oversight, the budgeteers don't seem to. The agency has $15 billion in outstanding debt. That's the statutory limit. Also has more than $120 billion in unfunded liabilities, mainly for retiree health and pension benefits.
Oh, boy.
That amounts to about 169% of its fiscal year 2016 revenues. In fiscal year 2016, the post office suffered a $5.6 billion net financial loss. So basically, you've got the post office as kind of a mini state of Illinois, not just in its finances, but also in the culture of leveraging state employees to do political work for taxpayer rewards.
Dan, if we achieve nothing until I die, I want it to be this. One thing. Just one thing.
Just one thing, okay. That doesn't seem like a lot to ask.
Let's stop calling these corrupt employment agreements pensions. Can we please? Because I cannot tell you how that annoys me. Because all of a sudden...
You sound like you're getting emotional. Are you going to cry?
No. I got a little cold, okay?
Oh.
I'm married to a 50-something-year-old Italian woman. My house is like the dairy locker at Costco. It's cold in there. So anyway...
It's not going to get any warmer after that statement.
Yeah, well, so anyway, these pensions from these public sector people all of a sudden has a certain virtue that you can pull it out of your pocket anytime you want to use it as a hammer against the people not in on that scam. Because the entire premise of a public sector pension is a fraud and a lie. And if it was offered in a private sector, the people offering it would go to prison.
The operation of those pension funds is a Ponzi scheme. They would go to prison, at least just using Illinois as an example. But there is a promise made as part of the employment agreement, and so promises made should be honored.
I didn't make the promise. Did you make the promise?
Well, we live in a representative republic, and our elected officials do.
Some guy looking for a campaign contribution made the promise, and he pretended to negotiate against an entity that was paying him to be elected.
Well, this is the problem. This is the problem with public sector unions that are on both sides of the deal. It's not a true adversarial relationship where you have management and labor, like even with private sector unions, where you truly have management and labor in an adversarial relationship and you strike a considered contract. When you have SEIU or AFSCME, the teachers' unions, financing the campaigns of then the people they're sitting across the negotiating table from, I mean, of course it's a wired deal.
You're starting to sound like me. Now, here's the thing, Dan. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it. You make fun of my neighborhood accent. I get it. But believe it or not, at one time in my life, I was a registered investment advisor. And one of the things that they drill into your head is, and in fact, it's supposed to be something you say the beginning of every meeting, and that is that past accomplishments are no guarantee of future returns. Right? Past profits, no guarantee of future returns.
I've been in a lot of meetings with
you have this entire industry of public sector pensions. Predict or noon. High near 81. Tonight it's going to go down to 72.
Like Alistair Cook reading.
You know, I do it better than Brant Miller with those 3 hairs on his head. I don't want to get too technical. Yeah, you can get technical, Miller. Anyway, Friday, partly sunny with a high near 82. Showers and thunderstorms, likely overnight, with a low around 71. Saturday, there's a 50% chance of rain. Jim Telemonte will tell you there's an 80% chance that some moron can't make a left. Telemonte.
Sean, good morning. Good morning, Dan. The inbound Edens is still jammed. Willow to Church, crash there which happened early this morning. Still has 2 left lanes blocked. Major injuries there. 42 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 53. Kennedy, an hour and 7 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 31 minutes from Montrose, 28 in the Express. Outbound, it's an hour 2 O'Hare. The Eisenhower, an hour and 15 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour 12 after a crash at York Road. Stevenson, an hour 16, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 57 minutes. Ryan is 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State. Jammed 115th to 31st, and from the Reagan tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, it's a solid mess. I-55 to 290. The other tollways are also heavy. Eastbound I-80. Tollway to be
that the combination of these capsules improves your health. It does tell you the value of food and nutrition.
I actually can feel a difference. I really can.
I love the product. It's wonderful. I can't live without it.
It's really helping me. Every time I take it, my body says, thank you.
This is the first winter that I went through that I didn't get a cold.
I love my fruits and veggies. I'm a line dancer, and I just turned 78, and it has made a big difference in my stamina and just my overall well-being, and I have so enjoyed them. I just love taking them and what they do for me.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
If your roof is needy, if your roof is leaky,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof isn't right after it's storming and shingles are curly,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof is looking needy, call Crumweedy. This is Mark Olson of Crumweedy.
And I'm Greg Olson from Crumweedy. We are a third-generation family-run business. We've been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953.
You really can't do...
Nations Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-300-8038. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away. So you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-300-8038. That's 1-800-300-8038. 1-800-300-8038.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy. And Sean, you have dogs, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have a Boston Terrier named Mo, the handsome son of a... And then I have a dog my niece dropped off and never picked up.
Mo's named after...
Either Mo Green or Mo Sislak, whatever you like. You know, if it's the family, I say Mo Sislak. But my friends, it's Mo Green.
Those are 2 very different Mo's.
Yeah, but the same.
And the Boston Terrier's name?
Mo.
Oh, what's the other?
The other one's Bella. You know, I got a dog named Bella, for God's sakes. First of all, she's the Chelsea Clinton of dogs. She's a puggle, 2 species that should have never mated.
Well, first of all, you've made a big mistake.
What? What'd I do now?
You assigned gender to your dogs.
You kidding me?
Let me help you on this score. It is inappropriate to assign gender to pets. From the feminist revolutionaries at Medusa magazine, pets cannot speak for themselves. They cannot tell you that...
By establishing and keeping true personal relationships. Visit us at BradleyInvestmentCenter.com. That's BradleyInvestmentCenter.com. Or better yet, stop by and say hello. We are at the corner of Central and Central Park in beautiful Northwest Evanston. We strive to be the center of all your family's investment needs. For more information, call the Bradley Investment Center at 855-940-8700. That's 855-940-8700.
Bradley Investment Center. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc.
Bradley Investment Center is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services.
At 7:36 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. The inbound Edens is jammed. Solid Willow to Church. 2 left lanes are blocked with a crash which happened around 5 o'clock this morning. We're looking at 43 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 55. Inbound Kennedy, an hour and 16 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour and 4 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 15 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour 12. Stevenson, an hour and 18 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound it's an hour. Ryan, 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays are heavy. 115th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway, slow Higgins to Roselle, lead to the Tri-State. Reagan Tollway has long delays from the Aurora Toll to 355 and 83 to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial from I-55 to 290. Traffic service of Burger King breakfast. Right now at participating Burger King restaurants, you can get 2 croissant breakfast sandwiches for just $4. That's 2 croissant breakfast sandwiches for just $4. It's breakfast on a light, flaky croissant. Only at Burger King. Price and participation vary. Restrictions apply. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny today and hot, and we'll see a morning thunderstorm or two, and then another thunderstorm possible later today, heading for a high of 90. Tonight, warm and humid, patchy clouds, a low of 71. Tomorrow, partly sunny with showers and a heavy thunderstorm again. Tomorrow's high 87. Right now, it's 70 at O'Hare. Next news, 8 o'clock. Get continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Wine Time Radio. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. on AM 560, explore the wonderful world of wine with host James Crooker and Rob Lehner.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is Sean from Elmwood Park, and
same size yoga pants, just a little shorter in the inseam.
Yeah, that is a real visual you've given the listeners.
Thank you.
So it turns out that the Death with Dignity movement is terribly undignified and frankly a bit barbaric. We're seeing this play out in a number of cases. This is a watered-down version of the Charlie Gard case across the pond. This is an important discussion to have in the context of government-run health insurance and thus
why don't we just say rule?
And thus healthcare decisions. And we talked about a couple of cases earlier. I mean, people think that this stuff is just unfathomable. This doesn't happen here, and it can happen here, and it never happens here. And nobody believes in infanticide, except University of Chicago ecology professor. And nobody would treat disabled persons as less than human, except those who promote aborting any person with a mental or physical disability, except those in Oregon who've taken children away from 2 parents who are mildly intellectually disabled, but who both have earned high school diplomas in the traditional way. So that can't happen here, except it's happening here. And and now in D.C., by the way, this week, the Death with Dignity Act, which was passed last year, Washington, D.C., allows terminally ill D.C. residents over the age of 18 to legally obtain a physician's prescription for medications to end their lives in a, quote, humane and peaceful manner. The individual must work with doctors and pharmacies licensed in D.C. that are willing to prescribe and dispense the lethal medications. Limitations on why you want to take your life? No. So for more on this topic, we're joined by someone who I've read for a long time. I don't know that there's a person in America, an academic, an intellectual in America who's written more on this topic to keep this in the public, the center of the public's attention, to try and bring it to people's attention, and more persuasively. He's Wesley Smith, Senior Fellow at the Discovery Institute Center on Human Exceptionalism, and he joins us now. Wesley, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. So why don't we start with the Death with Dignity Act and the move for euthanasia, not just in D.C., but also on the West Coast and into the Pacific Northwest as well, and the implications of this movement that sort of got the Orwellian title that masks the gruesomeness of the practice.
Yeah, it seems to me that when a movement depends on euphemisms to sell its wares, there's something wrong with the movement. You see that with the Death with Dignity moniker, and instead of calling it assisted suicide, they call it aid in dying. And the argument is that if somebody's terminally ill and they commit suicide, it's not really suicide because they were going to die. They didn't want to really die. They wanted to live, so it's aid in dying. It's all very convoluted, and it's all very Orwellian. The main organization in this country, not the only one, but the main one that pushes this, is Compassion and Choices, which is it's a euphemistic title. Its original title was the Hemlock Society, which was honest. And Compassion and Choices is funded in the millions of dollars every year by George Soros and others of that mindset. And they are, we hear the few times they win, but, in 25 to 35 states each year, there are constant efforts to legalize assisted suicide. And it's a constant struggle to keep fighting it back because the movement runs on emotion. Rather than logic and rather than principle and rather than honest discourse. Quite often, I get a little upset when this is so I can die with dignity, meaning taking poison. I don't like to use the term medications because medications are supposed to heal. What they are is allowing doctors to prescribe an overdose of poison. And that means that my mom, who died of Alzheimer's last August, naturally, under the care of hospice in my home, didn't die with dignity because she didn't kill herself. Or that my dad in 1984, who died of colon cancer, didn't die with dignity because he didn't kill himself. I think we should push back against this nonsense language that is used by the movement and also push back against the fear-mongering that drives the advocacy.
Well, I've got a question for you, Wesley. I'm a little let me explain my position. We did a story earlier about how there were advocates for people who, if you didn't have a certain IQ level, they basically wanted a post-birth abortion on kids, which I am vehemently against. Okay, but I do have a question.
Yeah, Peter Singer of Princeton would be one of those.
Right. Jerry Coyne at University of Chicago.
I do have a question philosophically for you. Okay, and this is just me asking you. I believe if you're not in control of your own life, what are you in control of? So, for instance, in theory, I believe if I am in full capacity and I decide that I don't want to burden anybody or my children, I should be allowed to go off on a boat with a bottle of wine and a shotgun and do what I have to do, theoretically. Now, I don't want the state to put me to. So, where do you put people like me?
Well, theoretically, you can do that because there's no law against that. The question, and by the way, we're not talking about you going out and saying I've had enough, like Hemingway, right, and killing yourself. We're talking about a joint enterprise in making you dead in assisted suicide. That must be fought tooth and tongue. The next question is, how does a compassionate and loving society respond when you decide you've had enough and you want to kill yourself? Do we respond by saying, okay, here's the shotgun, or do we respond by saying, look, let's find another way around the problems that are causing you this issue? If we're not going to do that, we might as well just fold the doors of suicide prevention organizations.
Well, also, too, I mean, it's interesting that the way you phrase that, because it calls to mind the recent case where that girl was convicted of involuntary manslaughter for encouraging her boyfriend to commit suicide, goading him into it and sending him denigrating texts. So wait a second. If he wanted to do it and she facilitated him, how is she different than the Death with Dignity movement?
Well, in that situation, which I haven't written about, I have questions about when somebody's saying, jump, 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 which is basically what she did, right?
Right.
Versus, let me cock the gun, let me put the gun in your hand, let me put the finger on the trigger, now just squeeze. I mean, there's a difference between those. And
well, right, but there's
as a believer in the First Amendment, I'm not sure that conviction was appropriate, even though I think what she did was despicable.
Well, no, I agree with you, but my point is to say she did that. She's convicted of manslaughter. This is, as you say, giving you the gun, cocking the gun, pointing it at you, and performing your hand around it, and this is dignified.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you know, there's another case in Minnesota which was an internet kind of situation where the same kind of goading and pushing, and somebody killed themselves, and there was a conviction. But I think we also have to consider when we push assisted suicide on one hand, and then say, oh, but we have to stop suicide on the other. You're no longer anti-suicide, by some suicides, and it strikes me that if you tell somebody, you know. Let's say somebody who loses their business and has a scandal of some sort, and they want to kill themselves, and you say, no, don't do it. But then the person says, well, but I have cancer, and then you say, oh, here are the pills. It's like saying to somebody, don't smoke, but if you smoke, use a filter cigarette. I mean, there is suicide promotion in this assisted suicide movement that is going to impact other people who watch it, who may not have the illness that currently technically qualifies for assistance. You see it in the movie industry. There's the, Me Before You and $1 Million Baby, where people with disabilities were, the whole message was it was right for them to kill themselves because how can you have a decent life with such disabilities? The disability rights movement are some of the most vociferous fighters of assisted suicide. They're not pro-life on abortion. They don't tend to be religious. They tend to be very liberal politically. But they say, good grief, we're the targets. And they're right about that. And by the way, once you accept these premises, let's take a look at what's happened in Belgium, which has gone much further down the road than the United States. They euthanize mentally ill people, and not with physical illness, mentally ill people. They can join it with organ harvesting. There have been at least 3 examples of joint elderly couples being euthanized together, not because they were sick, but because they were afraid of future suffering in terms of grief should one of them die. You've had a transsexual person euthanized because the person was unhappy with the sex change surgery. Really, once you accept the premise that killing is an acceptable answer to human suffering, you really have opened the door to an unlimited descent into the chasm. And people will say, well, that's slippery slopeism. No, those are facts on the ground. I'm not saying this is what could happen. I'm saying that is happening now in Netherlands and Belgium and beginning to happen in Canada, where I know that at least one mentally ill person was killed by permission of court order.
And you started at the outset of our conversation by referencing who's behind financially this movement, mentioning George Soros. And I think it's important to understand the perspective of those that are the advocates and the financiers. And the perspective, at least in part, is a ZPG, zero population growth perspective. It's there are too many humans on the planet. It is a post-Christian, all suffering is bad and suffering should be eliminated, and that includes eliminating the sufferer as needed perspective. And it's what Dan Savage, the Dickensian named activist in this front, said, that we should have mandatory abortion because there's just too many damn people in the world. It's important for people to get over their shock that these human beings exist, and this is what they're advocating, but that's what they're saying in their own words.
Right, and it all hides behind gooey compassion, which is a false compassion, because compassion really means, the root meaning of the word is to suffer with, where we help each other through these dark times and take somebody else's suffering upon ourselves if necessary to do that. Assisted suicide is not suffering with. It is abandonment. It may not be intended to be abandonment, but it is abandonment, and it moves on emotion. The Brittany Maynard case is an example where the euthanasia movement have been looking for just the right face to be the face of the movement, and they found it in this beautiful woman with the tragic situation of brain cancer. So now every time, and the media, by the way, is totally in the tank with this movement. In most stories about assisted suicide, you never even see an opponent able to discuss their perspectives anymore, or if they do, it's at the very end of of the story, or it's somebody who's a priest, so that they can say, well, this is just about religion, when it isn't. And Brittany Maynard, in her own writing, said she did it for two reasons. One was she was afraid of suffering, which one can understand. She never tried hospice care. She was told basically the worst-case scenario. You could tell it in her writing. There's a wonderful hospice doctor, Dr. Ira Byock, and your listeners can look him up, who tried to say, wait a second, it doesn't have to be the way she's discussing it. And he was yelled at on the media, how dare you discuss her case? He wasn't discussing her case. He was saying, look, even with brain cancer, there's things medicine can do to help alleviate this kind of symptoms. But the second thing that she said was, I don't want my family to see me undergoing this. In other words, I'm going to put myself out of my family's misery. If we get to a place where we're saying, you know what, I don't want my family to see me go through these experiences, it's that disintegrating of family. Part of being family is caring for each other in times of dire circumstances. And that is what family is in large part about. And to say, well, rather than have that, we'll just kill ourselves, can also lead to families saying, why don't you put yourself out of our misery? You know, it's a very, when you start make killing an answer to suffering, the mindset changes to 180 degrees, and things that you would never perceive of otherwise, you will go there by logical extension.
He is Wesley Smith, Senior Fellow at the Discovery Institute Center for Human Exceptionalism. Wesley, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
The performance, conduct, and sustainability of organizations are a direct result of leadership. A leader's impact can be profoundly good or bad. We've experienced the devastating impact of unethical, selfish, and corrupt leaders. We've also experienced the impact of good and caring leaders whose honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct have created great organizations and a legacy of goodwill. Our challenging times require courageous, values-driven leaders to step up to these challenges. My name is Rich Panico. I am the founder and CEO of Integrated Project Management Company, IPM. I am blessed to lead a wonderful family of talented and caring leaders. Join us as we strive to change the world, one project at a time.
Trust IPM, the consulting industry's leader at executing your critical initiatives. For almost 3 decades, IPM has planned and executed projects in the life sciences, healthcare, consumer, and industrial sectors with honesty and integrity. Visit IPMCinc.com. That's IPMCinc.com. Or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. And it's about to get worse. The IRS just hired an army of new tax enforcers. So, if you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop that army of new enforcers from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $500 million of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
BalanceOfNature's.com. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I've been on vitamins. I've been on all kinds of supplements, but nothing has come close to your product. The difference between before I started the product and afterwards is like night and day. I do have more energy, and that was what I really was after. I get all these benefits. It's wonderful. I had no energy at all, and I thought, how can I live this way? I do one little chore, and then I have to sit and rest. And I find that I get through the day pretty well, and I really have more energy. I look in the mirror and I say, I think I feel more alive. I think I look more alive.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
If you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, your dental health. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You hear a lot of people screaming at you about dental implants. Get it done in a day, or we can treat everybody, or hundreds of thousands of implants. Look, successful implants don't come from an implant factory. What you don't hear talked about is skill, treatment, and installation. These are what make for successful lifelong implants, and that's why you need to see Dr. Noruzzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Noruzzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants. You need the experience, skill, and honesty that 24 years of dental implants brings.
This is Dr. Noruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics, 630-232-7400, 630-232-7400, or just remember, implantsforme.com, implantsforme.com.
July is Patriotism Month at Schrenk Smoking Gun. In honor of Independence Day, everyone who purchases a firearm in July at Schrenk's will automatically be registered to win a really cool Charter Arms Old Glory 38 Special Revolver. It's designed just like Old Glory, our beautiful American flag. During July, you can also save on select ammo with Schrenk's Buy 3, Get 1 free deal. You already know that Schrenk's has Lake County's largest selection of new, used, and consignment pistols, rifles, shotguns, and ammo, plus full gunsmith services. And you know that Schrenk's has a great selection of your favorite cigars. Don't forget, you'll avoid Cook County taxes by purchasing your firearms from Schrenk's. They're the firearms store generations of customers trust. Don't miss your chance to win the Charter Arms Old Glory 38 Special Revolver. Visit smokethelettern.gun.org or call 847-662-4034. Schrenk Smoking Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964.
When you purchase an alarm system, you do it for one reason above all others. You need to know something about the people or property under your care. Knowing that what matters most will be looked after by professionals when you can't be there is a comforting feeling. At Alarm Detection Systems, we've learned a great deal from our decades of service. We know how to treat customers on the phone. We know that installing quality security products using certified technicians is the only way to go. We know that same-day service and local monitoring will provide the safety and peace of mind you're looking for. You no longer have to wonder if your home or business is protected by your alarm system. Know that it is. At home or on the go, the information you seek is right in your hands. It's good to be in the know. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. That's 630-844-6300 or online at adsalarm.com. Alarm license number 127000143.
AM 560, The Answer.
Now we're talking. This is music.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You going to do a little Irish jig for us?
And Colin McGregor's going to kick it. Go ahead.
Conor McGregor.
Whatever.
And we got a C-note riding on it. That's Sean from Elmwood Park. I'm Dan from Wheaton. And coming up at 8:08, the time flies. You want to know what the teachers' unions have in store for your school and our country?
Can't be good.
Check out their new business items from their annual meeting. We'll do that at 8:08, but now we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Among the stories we're watching, Mayor Emanuel is losing a key staff member, and fear of flooding is back on the rise. Those stories and more after a check of the national headlines from Fox News. WIND Chicago, 70 degrees at 8 o'clock.
Cancer picked the wrong guy. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That was a tweet from Vice President Mike Pence as war hero Senator John McCain battles brain cancer. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
Well wishes from every end of the political world pouring in for Arizona Republican John McCain, diagnosed this week with an aggressive form of brain cancer discovered after surgery to have a blood clot removed. Former President Obama, who beat McCain in the 2008 election, called the senator an American hero and one of the bravest fighters, adding cancer doesn't know what it's up against. President Trump also calling McCain a fighter in a statement. The Mayo Clinic in Phoenix says McCain and his family are considering treatment options that could include chemotherapy and radiation. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. President Trump says if he'd known that Attorney General Jeff Sessions would recuse himself from the Russia probe, he would have picked someone else for the job.
It's extremely unfair. And that's a mild word to the president.
In a New York Times interview, the president also criticizing special counsel Robert Mueller for ties to fired FBI Chief James Comey and suggests he could fire Mueller if the probe expands to Trump family finances. More than half of voters surveyed in a new Fox poll say Russia did interfere in the election, but they're split on possible Trump campaign collusion. Today marks 6 months in office. Fox's Eben Brown is on the Arkansas-Texas border, live in Texarkana.
Lisa, this is where the president's most ardent supporters hailed from, and most of the people I spoke with aren't unhappy with the president's performance thus far.
Well, I'm surprised that a lot of stuff hasn't gotten done as fast as he said it would, but I'm not discouraged by no means.
So far, I think he's doing a good job, and I'm not necessarily a Republican, so that's saying a lot.
Though a lack of completed legislation on health care seems, many tell me, to be a stumble on the president's part, they don't feel any buyer's remorse, Lisa.
Thanks, Evan. Just ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street, Dow futures slightly higher. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Good morning. It's 69 degrees in Chicago at 8:02 on AM 560 The Answer. I'm David Stewart from the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Sunny today and hot with intermittent thunderstorms and a high of 90. A boy who left St. Paul in 1976 to come to Chicago has been identified as a victim of serial killer John Wayne Gacy. Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart says DNA tests confirm the ID of James Byron Hawkinson.
Jimmy was 16 years old at the time when he was murdered by John Gacy. Jimmy was an incredibly special kid.
The teen's remains were found in Gacy's crawl space back in 1978, but were unidentified until now. Gacy was executed in 1994. An investigation is underway after a Chicago 911 dispatcher was shot a woman on the southwest side. Police say it happened yesterday after the city employee got into a traffic dispute with the victim in the 3500 block of South Ashland Avenue. Mayor Emanuel's losing a key aide. Deputy Mayor Steve Koch is leaving. Cranes reports that Koch stayed longer than expected as an expert on financial issues. He's being replaced by Robert Rivkin, former Aon VP and an attorney with the CTA. There are more concerns about flooding in the northern suburbs. Rivers were receding, but officials like Governor Rauner are watching the impact of the rains that fell overnight and those forecast for today.
We're still monitoring the situation along the Fox River and on the Des Plaines River because there's still high water there, and in some communities further south it could get worse before it gets better.
Rauner says he expects to seek federal aid to cover the costs of the flooding. In sports, Cubs win number 6 in a row, beating the Braves 8-2. The Sox lose to the Dodgers 9-1 in a rain-shortened game. Both teams are off today. Mitch Trubisky signed his 4-year contract as a rookie with the Chicago Bears. The news and service of Accountemps. Do you need accounting and finance professionals for a long-term or recurring project? Well, if you prefer the same professional to handle your project from start to finish, Accountemps Salaried Professional Service is your solution. You can learn more at Accountemps.com. That's Accountemps, a Robert Half company. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, sponsored by Turnkey.pro. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Ginny Cosola.
From the Fox Business Network, Citigroup is offering an upbeat forecast for Tesla. Its analysts are predicting Tesla stock will rise about 10% from the current price. In its report, Citigroup says it's positive on Tesla's position as a car of the future leader, saying Tesla had initial product success, brand appeal, speed of innovation, and tech software leadership. Analysts also say, though, they're waiting for convincing signs of a smooth Model 3 debut. Insurance company Travelers is reporting a weaker profit because of higher costs for weather-related damage, particularly tornado and hail. Philip Morris's quarter was disappointing. The tobacco company's earnings were weaker. The company's lowering its forecast for the year. Stocks were in record territory yesterday. The Dow up 66, NASDAQ gained 40, S&P up 13. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
AM 560 News Time 8:05. We've got traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560. The Answer.
Larry Elder doesn't understand the backlash towards Trump.
Look at his policies. And what's objectionable? Stimulus. Obama had a $787 billion stimulus program. Trump is calling it infrastructure investment. It's the same thing. Democrats love spending money. Donald Trump is proposing spending even more than what Obama wanted to spend. I thought you guys liked that. I'm trying to figure out what the problem here is.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, can I still take advantage of today's low rates? Is it still a good time to refinance? The answer is yes. Now's a great time to call Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Do you think identity theft is only when someone adds charges to your credit card? It's actually when someone pretends to be you to open new accounts in your name or any number of bad things. LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to alert you to a huge range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, we have a team of U.S.-based specialists who will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Membership starts at $9.99 a month, plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off.
At 8:07 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. Killdeer, we've got a tree down, and this is blocking westbound 22 between Corporate and Quentin Road. Eden's inbound jammed. Willow to Church, 2 left lanes are blocked after an early morning wreck. We're looking at a travel time of 46 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 54. Kennedy, an hour and 23 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 45 minutes from Montrose, 31 on the Express. Outbound 42 minutes to Montrose, an hour 12 to the airport. The Eisenhower's an hour and 15 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 55 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 48 to Manheim, an hour 29 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 21 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound an hour and 6 minutes. The Rhine is 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, it's knotted up. Bryn Mawr to North Avenue, northbound 18th to Jackson. Tri-State southbound, stop and go 173 to the Waukegan Toll. 2 right lanes are blocked with a car fire. And it's heavy 132 to 176 and 190 to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound jammed 115th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, Veterans Memorial. Solid delays. I-55 up to 290. The other tollways are heavy too. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
And now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, humid with clouds and sunshine. Couple of morning thunderstorms around, followed by a shower or a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. High 91. Humid tonight with patchy clouds, low 71. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
69 now at the lakefront, 71 at Midway, 69 degrees and thunderstorms at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is the, what do I call it, the Duke of Disparagement, Sean from Elmwood Park. And Sean, in the news in Illinois right now is the back and forth between the governor and Democrat legislative leaders on school funding.
Because he doesn't want you to primary him.
Not primarying him. And it's interesting because the people take very strong positions on school funding, often cases without having any idea what's being funded. what's going on in their schools. Do you know?
Well, I know the milk contract. I'd rather have that than a law firm in the city.
I'm talking about on the instruction side. But that's part of it, though, too, is the overhead and the self-dealing and the insider plays and the cutouts and special waivers and all of that. But what I'm talking about is, for example, in Minnesota, the debate over how schools should handle transgender students got heated this week when the Minnesota Department of Education created guidelines for the state's K-12 public schools by promulgating a transgender toolkit.
What comes with that? A hammer and a saw?
Right. Don't take the easy ones. The transgender toolkit showed up at a meeting to share, and this, of course, generated strong opinions. Has put together, the Minnesota Department of Education said they've put together this toolkit so that many families, moms, dads, students, post-gender human forms can deal with the concerns they have about the bodily privacy of young men and women in schools by allowing mixed-sex access into women's and men's only spaces like locker rooms. And that was the Minnesota Family Council concern. Others, of course, are cheering this. Transgender and gender nonconforming students are really struggling in Minnesota. We have evidence and data that helps us with that information, and this is why we need the transgender toolkit to be distributed and part of required policies and procedures for school districts.
Mm-hmm.
But that's Minnesota.
Well, that's
not here.
That's the only chance Republicans have, because what people don't understand, I mean, what politicians, what these bureaucrats don't understand, people reject social engineering because it comes with this type of force.
Do they reject social engineering?
Well, a large portion of us still.
Well, in Illinois, what I hear is everybody, well, not everybody, but both political parties saying we need to spend more money for more social engineering. And we're not spending enough for social engineering K through 12. And so Minnesota, this is one example. How about the NEA? The National Education Association, teachers union, with all kinds of state affiliates, like the Illinois Education Association here, one of the three. When it comes to public sector unions, the troika is SEIU, AFSCME, and the teachers unions. So the IEA and the IFT, but the IEA here is very powerful, spends a lot of money in campaigns. Very involved in the schools because they represent the teachers, and a lot of the unions capture the school boards and even the administrators and drive policy and curriculum, don't they? Is that what's happening in your school district? Are you paying attention? Do you have any clue? Let me tell you about the annual meeting, the new business items. There was 159 of them. 159 new business items at the annual meeting. Give you an example. Adopted, new business item number 3. The NEA will continue to advance the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning students and educators by taking the following actions to counter the backlash, calling upon our members and society to promote a culture of safety, support, and affirmation that ensures civil rights and advocacy. It's one thing, civil rights, advocacy is another thing, isn't it? Provide tools and affiliates like this toolkit that Minnesota's proposed. Convene periodic webinars for state and local affiliates and members to provide updates as to the current status of state and local protections. Provide legislative support and resources. That means politics. Continue to actively participate in the legal efforts to secure full civil rights for LGBTQ. Evaluate eliminating states and cities as accepted locations for future NEA meetings if that state or city adopts a law or ordinance that licenses discrimination against such students and educators based on orientation or gender expression. That's just one. New business item 18. The NEA will oppose deportations and state that public school staff should decline cooperation with ICE officials or any officials seeking immigration information. NEA will further encourage school districts to adopt policies refusing cooperation with ICE officials and due to the detrimental effects ICE actions have on documented citizen and undocumented community members alike. New business item 23. NEA will use existing legal resources to support state affiliates by providing information regarding existing laws that allow undocumented students to receive in-state college tuition rates in the state which they reside. News business item number 37. The NEA will publish an article that documents the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy in 1893, the prolonged illegal occupation of the United States in the Hawaiian Kingdom, and the harmful effects that this occupation has had on the Hawaiian people and resources of the land.
Is it my turn yet? I had a cousin that talked to himself. He wore a trench coat in July, walked the streets. Can I talk?
Do you have a point?
I have a point, and I'm agreeing with you. God, he's an obstinate son of a gun, isn't he, Justin? Anyway, the point about this education system being mandated from Mount High is that it's used as the excuse for more cost, or the lack of parental involvement in the school. And they are winning, and it is infuriating people like me who have kids that I try to avoid. You know what? The other thing that's not talked about? This will be for the private schools too. This is the kind of thing that starts out in the public school, and before you know it, I got a kid in a Catholic school celebrating Earth Day, which is also just a coincidence on Lenin's birthday. So I don't like the sound of this, because what they're doing now is they're gonna take control over even the people who try to avoid this kind of stupidity by paying out-of-pocket costs to send their kid to a private school.
Common Core, another good example of what you're speaking of, and the teachers' unions, it's all about kids and resources for the kids and educating kids and classroom instruction and quality curriculum, right? New business item number 41. The NEA will publicize our support of the right to universal health care and our opposition to assaults on Medicare, Medicaid. The NEA will publicize their support of efforts in Congress to defend the right to health care, publicize these positions. And they also talk about single payer. They're supporters of that. The NEA will develop an online toolkit, new business item 46, to assist communities and educators in combating the insidious hate speech and actions of white supremacists, nationalists, and the so-called alt-right. That's a synonym for them, conservatives.
Or anyone who doesn't agree with them.
Correct. The toolkits, how about this? The new business item number 62. The NEA will publicize our opposition to the travel ban imposed by the current presidential administration, and will join other organizations in actions to defeat it. But this is an educational organization for teachers, to have better schools, to educate kids. Have you heard anything in these handful of action items of the 159 I've mentioned, these new business items that are being amended and considered and ratified, that has anything to do with K through 12 instruction?
When you think about the achievement of the Department of Education only founded in 1978 to right now, where they are controlling everything your kid is exposed to, you realize we truly are free-range slaves. I can't tell my kid I think this is outrageous, because they're gonna, when they get them during the day, they're gonna say, don't listen to your mom and dad. They don't know what they're talking about. I can't even protect my kids from this. See, that's you've taken away my parenting ability. You've controlled.
Well, they're not your kids. They're the state's kids.
You know what? How do you win?
They let you see them.
How do you win, Prof? When Republicans like Rauner can use the funding of schools and the pensions of these daycare workers who are developing stretch marks called teachers against me, so that my taxes go up. And the Republicans are supposed to, well, there's nothing we could do. We got to fund the schools. Schools have to open. It's the same thing every year, which is why Illinois is a flyover state at best.
NEA, and of course their state affiliate, IEA, new business item number 65. The NEA also supports the efforts to begin the process of impeaching Donald Trump in the U.S. House of Representatives that could lead to his trial before the United States Senate. The NEA will use existing media to educate members about social and emotional health needs of transgender and non-binary students and educators. The NEA's new business item number 94 supports sanctuary cities and schools and opposes any attacks and attempts to penalize and prohibit such sanctuaries. The NEA will, through communication channels, this is number 102, take actions to fight legislation that encourages the teaching of ideology and non-scientific alternatives to scientifically accepted topics such as global climate change and evolution. And just on and on and on. The NEA will stand against the deportations of our students and their families, and will, work to publicize their plight and so on and so forth. The NEA informs and encourages all educational institutions to offer freedom of choice in graduation attire without any limitation based on discrimination and stereotyping such as race, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, ethnicity, immigration status, occupation, or religion. I mean, it's just all identity politics, all left-wing moon battery, all Democrat Party platform positions, all kind of barely veiled politicization of teachers as a field force for the Democrat Party and funding source for Democrat candidates up and down the ballot.
You know, I'm a generation, I think I'm about a generation older than you. And I remember, you know, when you were in your knickers playing with your Evel Knievel stunt doll.
Yeah.
I remember on TV.
That. I miss it fond. I remember it fondly, and I miss it.
There was a guy. It was the height of the Cold War when I grew up, and there was a guy named Yuri Bezmenov who was a defector, a KGB defector, and he would go on Sunday shows from time to time. And I'm going back to the 77, 76. He would tell what the Soviet plot was to overthrow the country. And he would always start from the same premise of it was always to infiltrate the education institutions. It was always to take away the power of the parent over the kid. Because once you did that, everything was new, all bets were off, and history starts today. And you know what? As you're reading this, what you realize is they won. We didn't win the Cold War. They just laid dormant until they could overthrow us like now. And you have Republicans voting for socialism.
Family is the bulwark against the state, which is why the statists, the central planners, the plunderers, the despots, always look for ways to insinuate government between parents and children. That's the thing. And unfortunately, we have a lot of willing participants, useful idiots to continue the Soviet vernacular that facilitate it.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm just going to read the weather. There's no way we can get a urinal installed by the time the show's over. Today, showers and thunderstorms, mainly before noon. High near 81. Mostly cloudy overnight with a low 72. Friday, partly sunny with a high near 82. Showers and thunderstorms, very scary. Likely overnight with a low around 71. Saturday, totally guessing. 50-50 chance. Yeah, I mean, come on. I got a 50-50 chance with my McGregor bet. So let's go to Jim Telemonte. Who's got a 50-50 chance on the Eisenhower?
All right. Conor McGregor. Thanks so much, Sean. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. I think a lot of people stuck in traffic might be looking for a urinal, too. The travel times are very high with the storms. Eden's inbound, a mess. Tower to Church, 2 left lanes are blocked after an early morning wreck. 45 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 52. The Kennedy, an hour and 24 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 49 minutes from Montrose, 32 in the Express. Outbound, an hour and 11 to O'Hare. The Eisenhower's, an hour and 16 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound, an hour and 22. Stevenson, an hour and 21 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound, an hour and 6 minutes. The Ryan, 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Tri-State, heavy, 173 to the Waukegan toll after a car fire. Then 132 to 176. And 190 to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound, long delays, 115th to 31st. And from the Reagan tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, stop and go I-55 up to 290. The other tollways are heavy as well. And Lakeshore Drive, southbound delays are Bryn Mawr to North Avenue. It is 35 minutes Hollywood to Monroe. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Speaking of school, have you seen the store shelves that are already putting out the back-to-school supplies? The school year may seem like a million years from now, but it's actually just around the corner. And maybe this summer you've been rethinking sending your kids to public school. Things are changing in our public schools and not always for the better. Now might be the time to consider sending your child to a private school, and you can do it for half the price of regular tuition thanks to halfpriceschools.com, where you can find tuition vouchers for private schools across Chicagoland available at half of the normal price. No catch. It's simple. Find a private school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools located across Chicagoland, including schools in Bensonville and Oak Lawn, Romeoville and Aurora, Orland Hills and Westchester, Antioch and South Holland. So don't delay. School will be starting again in a matter of weeks. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. Many of these vouchers already sold out, so don't wait. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Message and data rates may apply.
Have you ever forgotten your password?
With all the accounts you have and all the rules around passwords, remembering every single one is impossible. That's why millions of people are turning to Dashlane, the award-winning app that protects your passwords and creates an easy, secure way to access all of your accounts. And right now, you can get access to Dashlane free for life on your favorite device just by texting SECURE to 543-543. Over 6 million users manage their passwords with Dashlane. Over 6,000 companies trust Dashlane. And over 70,000 reviews give it a 5-star rating. But the only number that really matters? 0. Because that's how many times you'll forget your passwords using Dashlane. With Dashlane, your passwords are never misplaced and never forgotten. Simple, safe, secure. Unlock free access to Dashlane on your favorite device for life right now. Just text SECURE to 543-543. That's SECURE to 543-543.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Do you know your bank's fraud tolerance? I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive. At Signature Bank, we have 0 tolerance. While some of the big banks may write off smaller incidences of fraud, we use a multi-layered approach to fight fraud before it happens to our customers. There's been a record number of businesses hit with payments fraud this year. Keeping your business assets safe is our top priority. We are trained, and we will train you to recognize potential wire fraud threats and business email compromise scams. Call us today to find out how Signature Bank can work with your business to fight fraud.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
When I heard of Balance of Nature, and I said, because I had prayed, Lord, how am I going to get all this food into me that's so good to me? That's when I called. Now I know that I get my fruits and my vegetables into me, and I don't have to work so hard. I know that I am getting the proper things into my body. I do believe that if I didn't have this already in my body, my Balance of Nature, it wouldn't have gone so good for me. But because my body was healthy, that's what kept me going.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Message and data rates may apply.
Attention, it is illegal to text and drive. So if you're experiencing hair loss and you want a permanent solution, please pull over now, because an incredible offer that could give you your hair back is just one text away. Bosley is the world's most experienced hair restoration expert, always pioneering the latest technology. And now, we're giving everyone who texts the word GROW to 543-543 an absolutely free information kit that reveals just how easy and affordable this permanent solution really is. Don't wait. When you text GROW to 543-543, we'll also give you a gift certificate for $250 off. Millions of men and women have come to Bosley for a permanent solution to hair loss. So pull over now and see for yourself how great your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit. Text GROW to 543-543. Plus, get a free gift certificate. This amazing offer is just one text away. GROW to 543-543.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy this morning. And Sean, I was reading the Inside Science periodical, which I know you're an avid reader of as well.
Oh, only in the bathroom.
And I'll tell you what, it's a very interesting piece that explains why dogs are so friendly.
Because they want to be fed? Bacon in the pocket?
That's probably a good instinct. But it turns out that the puppy agile for social interaction that you also possess may be linked to a condition that some humans suffer from called Williams syndrome. That occurs when people are missing a chunk of DNA containing about 27 genes. It affects about 1 in 10,000 humans. It's associated with a suite of mental and physical traits, including bubbly, extroverted personalities, a broad forehead, full cheeks, heart defects, intellectual disability, and affinity for music.
Sounds like J.B. Pritzker.
Could be. I don't know if he's a sufferer of Williams syndrome or not. And researchers, including a Princeton evolutionary biologists have found a hint of a link between dogs and Williams syndrome.
Oh, come on. How much did this cost me to have these eggheads come up with this, these sexually frustrated morons in lab coats?
Well, maybe you don't suffer from Williams syndrome after all. All right, coming up, the next thing that Republicans should do in their pursuit to replace Obamacare is ask Hillary what to do.
Yeah, drop Mitch McConnell off at my house.
We'll put that question to Philip Klein, the managing editor at the Washington Examiner, at 8:38. But now we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Sean. 70 degrees in Chicago at 8:30 on AM 560. The Answer from the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. It's Nissan of St. Charles, the home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Sunny today, hot, intermittent thunderstorms, and a high of 90. The public now knows the identity of another victim of serial killer John Wayne Gacy. Sheriff Tom Dart says 16-year-old James Hawkinson of St. Paul was killed by Gacy in August of 1976.
He was killing so many people that he was burying people on top of each other. And so in this situation, Jimmy's remains were found immediately underneath another young man's remains.
The teen's remains found in the crawl space of Gacy's home in 1978. Authorities used DNA tests to identify the boy. Thousands of homeowners without power this morning after overnight storms across Chicagoland. ComEd says there are outages throughout the suburbs and more storms are expected today. President Trump blasted Attorney General Jeff Sessions for recusing himself from the Russia investigation. In an interview with the New York Times, Trump said,
"How do you take a job and then recuse yourself? If he would have recused himself before the job, I would have said, thanks, Jeff, but I can't, I'm not going to take you." It's extremely unfair. And that's a mild word to the president.
Sessions recused himself from the Russian investigation after word of his meetings with the Russian ambassador emerged. Senator John McCain's been diagnosed with brain cancer. The 80-year-old found out he had glioblastoma after surgery for a blood clot over his left eye. McCain and his family are looking at treatment, including possible chemotherapy and radiation. In sports, the Cubs won their 6th in a row after beating the Braves 8-2, and Milwaukee lost to the Pirates, so the Cubs move even closer to the top. Sox lose to the Dodgers 9-1 in a rain-shortened game. Both teams are off today. News and service of Napa Auto Parts. It's that time of year when a scorching hot day can pop out of nowhere, so the folks at Napa Auto Parts would like to remind you that if you can fry an egg on the sidewalk, you can also fry your car battery. Head to Napa, where they'll help to keep your car running longer and stronger. That's Napa know-how. AM 560 News Time, 8:32. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher & Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher & Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher & Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
Friday, July 28th, you're invited to be a part of sharing the good news that there is hope after abortion. Lake County Right to Life invites you to hear Vicki Thorne, founder of Project Rachel and the executive director of the National Office of Post-Abortion Reconciliation and Healing. Admission is free to the Lake County Right to Life annual banquet on Friday, July 28th at the Doubletree by Hilton in Mundelein. An internationally renowned researcher, noted for her work on the biology of bonding and attachment, Thorne will address abortion, its aftermath, and the theology of the body. The Lake County Right to Life banquet is a free event, but there will be an opportunity to make a financial contribution to support this pro-life education and action organization. To reserve a place at the Lake County Right to Life annual banquet on Friday, July 28th, call 847-223-7022 or register online at lcrtl.org. That's lcrtl.org.
At 8:34 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. On the inbound Edens at Church Street, 2 left lanes are blocked after a crash which happened about 3.5 hours ago. It's 43 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose as delays start at Willow. Outbound 52 minutes from Montrose to Lake Cook. On the inbound Kennedy, delays start at Sayre. An hour and 24 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 49 minutes from Montrose, 32 in the Express. Outbound 41 minutes to Montrose, an hour 11 to O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower, an hour and 16 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 55 minutes from Manheim. Outbound an hour 22 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour 23, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 54 minutes. Ryan is 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound heavy 132 to 176 and 190 to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound 115th to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway slow lead to the Tri-State. Reagan Tollway Eola to 355 and York to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial jammed I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. Southbound 53 ran to Kirchhoff. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, Bryn Mawr to North Avenue. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte at AM 560 The Answer.
And now the forecast, a service of aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny and hot today, a morning thunderstorm, and then a thunderstorm throughout the day. A high of 90, warm and humid tonight, patch of clouds, low 71. Partly sunny tomorrow with showers and a heavy thunderstorm, and a high of 87. Right now it's 69 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 9 o'clock. Get continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now, more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Joe Walsh here. I think it's time for President Trump to just slap these Republicans upside the head. Let's get some stuff done. We'll talk about it when Freedom returns at 5.
Yeah, let's get some stuff done. What stuff and how? Those are always the operative questions. Very interesting piece on this topic of O'Care repeal and replace. It was a friendly, jovial White House lunch President Trump had with Republican senators, but then it got a little awkward with one Nevada Senator, Dean Heller.
The other night I was very surprised when I heard a couple of my friends, they really were and are. They might not be very much longer, but that's okay. I think I have to get them back. That's right. I refuse. Well, no, you didn't go out there. This was the one we were worried about. You weren't there, but you're going to be. Look, he wants to remain a senator, doesn't he?
Zing. Well, here's one idea. And this comes to us from John Merline from an op-ed in Investors Business Daily. What the GOP should do next on health reform? Ask Hillary. The GOP, he argues, should follow Hillary and the Clinton model in reverse. After their failed gambit for Hillary care in the early 90s, what did they do? Give up? No. They did piecemeal, step-by-step, small reforms, many with bipartisan support, on a 20-year path to Obamacare. Bill Clinton signed the Mental Health Parity Act that forced insurance to cover mental health the same way they cover other health care. He signed HIPAA. Clinton signed a bill creating CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program, which parents get their children on Medicaid, even if they didn't qualify. It's a good model for Republicans, Merline argues. If they can't get a straight Obamacare repeal vote through Congress, they might consider Hillary's strategy, push small reforms that can attract wide public support, but do that and move healthcare in a free market direction with examples he uses, small reforms, like the consumer freedom option that Senator Cruz proposed as an amendment to the Senate the Senate replace reform that can't muster the 50 votes, it doesn't look like. What about that piecemeal approach?
I think I like Ted Cruz's approach of that. That would be the piecemeal where you pretend to give an option that you know will destroy it. But I don't like fixing this problem from the how they're giving it to us. Let's focus on what insurance is. To me, it's a scam. It was created to be a scam. It was created to be a money. And when it finally failed, what did they do? Well, like most financial scams, you turn it over to the government. So I want to get it completely out of the way. Let's have doctors. Let's pay for what we need. Let's go directly to a doctor. I don't need Blue Cross Blue Shield in the way. I don't need them.
Yeah, okay, but even if that was your desire, how do you get from here all the way around the world in 80 days to the point that you're talking about a real free market in health insurance. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Philip Klein. He's the managing editor for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. Philip, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So what about the idea of taking the Clintons' approach in the direction of the free market if you can't muster enough congressional Republican support to move in a more comprehensive fashion?
Yeah, I don't really think that's applicable because the problem is as long as you have Obamacare on the books, then you're not going to be able to do a free market reform. The difference is in the 1990s, the incremental expansion of government's role in healthcare wasn't contingent upon having to undo prior legislation. So when in 97, Republicans and Democrats got together and expanded the coverage of children through Medicaid and S-CHIP, they didn't have to get rid of Medicaid or do anything in order to do that. It was just an expansion of Medicaid. Whereas in this case, you can't. There are very few piecemeal things that would make any difference in people's lives that you could do without repealing Obamacare.
Health insurance industry expert Robert Lazewski suggests that it's now not uncommon to see the lowest cost unsubsidized plan in the market, the individual market, for a family costs at least $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year, with an individual deductible in the $6,000 to $7,000 range. This is the argument about having health insurance but not really having health insurance because you can't use it effectively financially. Do you think congressional Republicans understand that if that continues to be the case, if that's the case come November of 2018, then their majorities are in existential jeopardy?
I think that some of them do, but the problem they have now is the reason why premiums are so high is a result of the Obamacare regulations that are popular among a number of people and that a lot of Republicans are afraid to get rid of. So the reason why premiums are high is that the insurance is insurers are forced to cover a comprehensive set of benefits that are dictated by the government. They have to cover people with pre-existing conditions. They can charge people more if they based on health status. So that basically means that if you're young and healthy, you're forced to purchase more insurance that you need for an exorbitant amount of money, or go uninsured and pay a tax. That's what Obamacare has done. And so the problem is that to lower premiums, you have to get rid of a lot of these regulations, but then you have people like Susan Collins saying, oh, well, if we do that, then Republicans would be abandoning people with pre-existing conditions, and you wouldn't be able to get maternity coverage, and et cetera, et cetera.
Philip,
so that's where we are now.
I think Obamacare is one of the few government projects that worked exactly as it was intended. I think this was always the intention. The first step of Obamacare, after all, was to put nearly double the amount of people on Medicaid, and then use those people as useful pawns against people who refuse to capitulate, which is why, Philip, I just got an insurance quote for $2,400 a month for a family of four with no pre-existing conditions. Everybody's healthy. I think it is now, and always was, a redistribution of wealth and power play. So have we entered that 100 years of darkness? Is there any way out?
I mean, quite frankly, it doesn't seem like it, because it seems like a critical mass of Republicans have given in to the liberal idea that it's the government's responsibility to make sure everyone has coverage. I wrote in my column last week that when Franklin Roosevelt, the father of the modern welfare state, signed the Social Security Act, he said, look, we can't hope to protect 100% of the population from 100% of the vicissitudes of life. And I don't think you could get a Republican to say that now. They just seem to think that, basically we have two big government parties. You have the Democrats, which expand government when they're in power, and you have the Republicans, which hold the Democratic gain, so that when Democrats get in power, they could just expand it even more. And then when they run for office, they lie to voters by saying that they want to shrink government and reduce government. But when push comes to shove, they run for the hills, and they're afraid of their own shadows. And that's where we are, and that's why incrementally we lose more and more liberty, and why people are paying thousands of dollars for insurance.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summation. And it's interesting that Josh Barro, who is, an ex-Republican, now a Democrat, he talks about the problem the left has. And it's a minor problem relative to what you just laid out about how the two parties function in the modern context. It's the hamburger problem, he writes. The relentless politicization of everything by the progressive left. Josh Barro saying Democrats' problem isn't that they're on the wrong side of policy issues. It's that they're too ready to bother too many ordinary people about too many of their personal choices, all the way down to the hamburgers they eat. And he cites things like the Redskins team name and hectoring on all kinds of other ancillary issues like that. It seems to me that what Republicans are suggesting is the only way to maintain power, and it's really just to maintain our own seats, it's not to do anything other than a scaled-down version of what Democrats are doing, or maybe just at a slower pace than what they're doing at same scale. The only way is if they just become so annoying, so unhinged, so hysterical, so bizarre, as we see on college campuses, that the ordinary American family just rejects what they see. I may not like Republicans, but I can't align myself with what I see on college campuses and in protest marches and the like. So that's the Republicans' big path to continuing to enjoy any electoral success, at least at the federal level as a national party, if they're going to concede the premises on all these major governmental programs and institutions.
Yeah, I think that the problem is that, right now Republicans have a very narrow Senate majority, and at the polls you have people who want to see a full repeal of Obamacare and a true fee market plan. And on the other poll, you have people that want to keep most of Obamacare in place and that probably ideologically don't have any objection to Obamacare. And then you have a bunch of views in between those two polls. But when you can only lose 2 votes, it's really difficult to come up with some compromise. Now, the senators were talking last night. What they're probably going to try to do is try to satisfy conservatives by allowing for a bit more regulatory relief, such as the Cruz Amendment, and then try to buy off moderates by throwing, an extra few $100 billion at Medicaid. And that, I think, is probably going to be, if there is, I'm not saying that they'll get a deal, but if they get a deal, that's what it's going to look like. More taxes and spending than the current deal, and maybe more regulatory relief. That was the path that ended up allowing passage in the House. And that's probably, if it passes in the Senate, what you're going to see.
All right. He is Philip Klein, managing editor for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. Always a good read. Philip, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line. Let's take a call. Our friend Verlin on the south side.
Verlin
is on Chicago's Morning Answer.
How you gentlemen doing? I love you,
Say
Sean.
Verlin.
Listen.
Verlin.
August 20.
Is it Verlin or Verlon? Verlin, is it Verlin or Verlon?
Answer
My name is Verlon, but I don't care.
Right again, Prof.
He likes Verlin better.
Only chicks care about when you mispronounce their name. I told y'all that. August 26th is the Floyd Mayweather fight. You and Dan, I'm gonna be at X's and O's. Please come up there, you and Sean and Dan. And Sean, I got $100 to your $100 that McGregor don't win a round.
Done. There's no way he's taking out Marciano's record. No way.
Okay, well, we'll see. Now, this is what I want to say. Dan, yesterday when I called you, a caller called a couple calls after me and said that at least Rand Paul is standing on principle. Let me tell you something. We all got to have common sense. To all of the conservatives out there, don't substitute principle for common sense. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Even if you arm twist, even if you guilt shame, you are not going to get the moderates to agree with you to pass even a repeal with reconciliation. But even if you got 52 Republicans, there's no way in hell you're going to get 8 Democrats to get a full repeal. And I don't know if you were listening yesterday, Sean, or not, but a repeal to reconciliation is just a shell game.
Well,
for something
you
or
can,
bow
you
for
can,
everything.
yeah, by the way, you can also exercise the legislative nuclear, quote-unquote, nuclear option, too. I mean, so that the 60 thing is a separate issue, really, Verlin. The issue is what the Republican Party is going to represent as it pertains to Obamacare replacement, as it pertains to health insurance in this country. That's the issue, and the Republican Party doesn't have an identity on the issue at present, as we're seeing playing out in the Senate. That's the problem.
I just want Obamacare off the books.
Well, you're not going to get it.
What we got. Vote for whatever we got and get Obamacare off the books.
Verlon, we're using common sense with our tax system. How's that working? We're using common sense with regulation. How's that working? With pollution control. See, the problem is when you accept the principles of false lies and fraud, you're arguing in the deep waters of their idea. The whole idea is wrong. Rip it out. Get the hell out of the way. I don't need government between me and a doctor. Ever.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's all.
That's
go to commercial.
yeah.
It's over with. Everyone knows I'm right.
Yeah, I mean, you just screamed what Verlin is essentially saying.
No, I didn't. He's telling me to compromise.
He's just living in the real world where he's trying to get from point A to point B, and you're living in the world where you can just scream about Fabian socialism and it goes away.
The real world lobbyists
Thanks
are
for the call,
heroes.
Verlin.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, here we go. The weather today: showers, thunderstorms, mainly before noon. High near 81. Mostly cloudy overnight with a low around 72. My wife's still going to have the air on. Friday night. Friday, partly sunny with a high 82. Showers and thunderstorms later overnight with a low around 71. Saturday, 50-50 chance. It's all made up. Jim Telemonte, which one's the bad one? Stevenson, Kennedy, Eisenhower. Where are the dummies?
All of the above, Sean. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Eden's inbound. Still a solid mess. Willow to Church. 2 left lanes are blocked after a major early morning wreck. It's 46 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 52. Kennedy, an hour and 17 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 55 minutes from Montrose, 34 in the Express. Outbound, it's 51 minutes downtown to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 22 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour 10. Stevenson, an hour 20, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 46 minutes. The Ryan, 33 minutes, 95th to downtown, outbound 22. Got a crash at 31st in the 2 left lanes. On the Tri-State southbound, stop and go 132 to 176 and 190 to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound 115th to 31st, Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Their tollway still heavy. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
All right, I know you're bombarded with MyPillow ads everywhere you turn, not only from me, but on TV, billboards, and in print. But the reason is simple. It's the best pillow available. You deserve a restful and relaxing summer. And the July radio deal using my name, Amy, in the promo code is the best deal available. It's the 50% discount on a MyPillow 4-pack, including 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows for half the price. You can move the fill to give you the exact support you need regardless of sleep position. You'll sleep deep and won't wake up to a stiff neck or headache. And our good friend Mike Lindell manufactures them in America using only American labor. You can wash and dry them. They're hypoallergenic, and you get a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So get your 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
Do you crave work that matters? 20 years ago, Bob Buford's book, Halftime, took business leaders from success to significance in their work. That book started a movement and the Halftime Institute. Now, from Institute CEO Dean Nawalny comes the next new powerhouse book, Trade Up. Building on Bob's legacy, Trade Up shows marketplace leaders how to not just make money, but make a difference. If the word smoldering discontent describe you, then trade up. Go to halftime.org. That's halftime.org.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. Charlie Gard's parents are thinking about their son and trying to save his life. The British government is thinking about its centrally planned healthcare system and trying to save its dominion over the lives of its countrymen. And that's the story of government from time immemorial. The state is forever seeking to intervene between parents and children because family is a bulwark against its power. The London hospital that seeks to put Charlie Gard to death said they don't want, quote, a world where only parents speak and decide for children, unquote. You see, they speak for your child. The commissars at the Orwellian acronymed National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, NICE, will tell you when it's time for him to die with dignity, and there's nothing nice about the way they shall impose their will. The state versus Charlie Gard is a reminder to Americans about the nature of government-run healthcare, yes. More importantly, it's a lesson about the nature of government generally. This is what George Washington meant when he described government as a dangerous servant and a fearful master. Consider this when politicians offer to improve your life with government in either role. Consider Charlie Gard's life.
3 Doors Down, Us in the Night Tour, 2017. 3 Doors Down, with special guest Filter, Saturday, July 22nd, Grand Victoria Casino in Elgin. Tickets on sale now at gbctickets.com. 3 Doors Down, part of the Grand Victoria Summer Concert Series. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
For 5 years, I was with this other company, and I tried everything, and it was costing me a fortune. And on top of that, it wasn't working. And I said, ever since I've taken this product, I have kissed that goodbye. Matter of fact, I said, this has been the first winter that I have gone through without a flu or nothing.
Last year I started on the Balance of Nature. I'm telling you, it really built me up, and it really helped me.
My cholesterol went down. Only after taking it 1 month, I went down 20 points.
I feel better already with it. I just feel it's made my life more predictable, more useful.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
All Nissans are created equal. It's Nissan of St. Charles that makes the difference. At Nissan of St. Charles, we go the extra mile to make sure your happiness lasts as long as you own your vehicle. Every new Nissan or used vehicle we sell comes with our exclusive Lifetime Advantage warranty. So when you get your new Nissan at Nissan of St. Charles, you'll drive with peace of mind knowing it's backed by our exclusive warranty that lasts the lifetime of your vehicle. And be sure to ask about our Lifetime Tire program. Where else can you get a great deal on a new Nissan, a Lifetime Advantage warranty, and a Lifetime Tire program? The little things make all the difference. While all Nissans may be created equal, the difference is clearly Nissan of St. Charles. Located on North Avenue in the heart of St. Charles. Or visit us online at nissanofstcharles.com. That's nissanofstcharles.com. Nissan of St. Charles. Experience the difference.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-900-1904. That's 1-800-900-1904. 1-800-900-1904.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Homewood Park has been in this morning for Amy J, and it's been an excruciating delight, Sean. You have to turn your microphone on, Pro.
Let's stop. I've had a great time. Let's stop pretending that the Replacement Act was written by senators and not insurers and lobbyists. Let's stop pretending that Dodd-Frank was written by Dodd-Frank and not Citibank. Let's flush the whole system. It's corrupted. That's it. I got to leave. I know you're going to kick me out. I'll probably never be back. I got to listen to Gallagher with the rah-rah. So go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go ahead then. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dave Stewart for the headlines.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Sean. Good morning.